Just waiting for it to spin. You are live. All right. Welcome to Federal Prison Talk Live. My name is Shawn. I'm what they call a returning citizen. And I did 52 months in a federal prison camp in Colorado. And I started this show to help people facing federal prison charges, people coming out of prison, going into prison, people who never want to go to prison, and people who are just curious about the whole federal prison system. Today, I'm very excited. I have a guest who I guess I found you on LinkedIn, but I know you're all over Facebook. They call her Lady Lion, guys. She's a prison advocate. She also has, I know you have a part in the music industry. She's in Montana. She's helped, I don't know how many different people get their early releases. She helps with, I'm just going to give you Shawn here, and she'll introduce yourself, and we'll start with that, Shawn. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I do prison advocacy. I do some legal work. I have up to in the last year since COVID started with home confinement, I have pulled 46 people total, girls and guys, from federal prison.
Okay. Now you were just telling me about. I know we've been chatting before. Maybe we can go over this again about the. Well, you got a whole bunch. You get a bunch of core links every day. If you guys don't know what core links is, so that's the email system that the federal prisoners get to use to email home. I think what has about a 2-hour delay before you get the message. What do you think?
Yeah, it pops back and forth. So a lot of people, I've had a lot of wives, like, and girlfriends, they'll call me and they'll be like, you know, I was emailing my husband and he didn't email me right back, and I have to explain to them that it bounces over to where it gets read. And then it comes back to you when they answer it to them, and then they answer it and stuff, and they read every single thing you write.
So I know that you did some time yourself, and maybe we can do a little background on you, and then we'll talk about the federal, Bureau of Prisons and what you do and all the people you've helped.
I did. I was in a very abusive marriage. I took 5 years from my ex-husband in 2004 on some money crimes. I did 5 years. I actually, while I was in there, I built a case on the warden, and the feds came in and arrested her 2 weeks after I discharged.
Whoa! No, back up a little. I want to hear about that.
She was embezzling from the prison and stuff, and they have a dog program.
The warden was embezzling from the prison, not
Yes.
the little sidekicks that they get for giving us dog
very,
food instead of human food and getting a bonus. I mean, real stuff, huh?
Real stuff. She was bringing her own animals in, and she was writing off all of her vet bills, her dog food. I mean, everything on the prison. And so I built that, and then I had sent her a kite about something. I can't remember what it was, and she pretty much blackmailed me on the kite.
You sent the warden a kite?
Well, I sent her a kite, and I asked her for something. I can't remember back then what it was, but she straight was like blackmailing me on this kite and sent it back to me. And I was like, you can't do this. What are you doing? But she signed her name to it. I mean, and I was like, well, that's some good firepower. Thanks.
Yeah.
But people don't look at things like, when they get their kites back, or, their cop outs or whatever in prison, whatever they call them in there. Like, a lot of times in the wording and stuff, it's how they word it. A lot of times you can be threatened and you don't realize that you're even being threatened. So you got to pay attention.
I've heard a lot of threats when I was just at the camp, but there was a lot of threats going on from staff towards us if we open our mouth or say something, So they had a lot to hide.
Yeah, I got out, and I noticed a lot of people with their POs, they want to make their POs their enemy. You cannot make your PO your enemy. Your PO.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I try to make. Yeah, go on.
Your PO needs to be your best friend. I got, me and my PO, we had a really good understanding. And when I first met her, I said, look, this is the thing. I won't lie to you. You don't lie to me. If you're going to put me in jail, please tell me so I can get my ducks in a row before I go. And I actually got kicked off probation 1.5 years early. And I was doing a little bit of prison advocacy while I was still on paper. They let me be around felons because they knew what I was doing. And I just kind of ran with it. I've been studying law for over 12 years. I've had federal judges. I've had state judges tell me to go challenge the bars, but I don't want to get barred because if I get barred, it's going to shut me down from doing a lot of stuff that I do for these people. Because like I can't, if you're a barred attorney, you can't call the BOP offices and yell at them people. It ain't happening. You're going to get disbarred real quick. And I fight hard for these people, and I the corruption in there is ridiculous. But if you're up front with your PO and stuff, like I still talk to my PO right now because if I have state people that go into jail and they need to know things or whatever, I can call her, I can email her because she's now a supervisor and I can help them with their cases. I just had a guy that was looking at 5 years in prison on the state side, and I called his PO and I talked to him and I said, look, this guy's up there in age. He's got a drinking problem. How about, we give him, he's going to have to do the watch program anyways, which is an alcohol program here in Montana. Okay. I said, let's give him the watch program, 6 months in pre-release, then we'll put him in sober living for a year and get him back on his feet. So after about 45 minutes, I got his PO to agree to me with me.
Now, did the PO ask, who are you calling me? Who the hell are you? And anything like that? Or
no,
how did that opening?
They all know who I am.
They all know who you are. Okay.
There's probably not a judge's chambers I can't walk up into over here. And so I got him a really, really good deal on that and stuff. And like I tell these guys, this is the thing. I will work with people, but I'm a 3-strike person.
You are? I didn't know that.
Mess up 3 times, I'm done. I have one guy in jail right now. I got him out his 3rd time. I got him 18 months drug court, into sober living, a full-time job the day he got out, and a week later he was using again. Well, I am not gonna go out of my way to keep helping people that don't want to change their lives or help them, because it's just a cycle that they keep spinning in.
Sure. Now, I get people that tell me, Shawn, your PO is not your friend. You're being too friendly with your PO. You're telling them too much about you. All they want to do is send you back. That's their job, Shawn. Don't be friends with your PO. But I've been through 4 of them now because I moved from California to New Mexico. All 4 of them even watch my channel. They gave me approval. They say I'm helping myself and I'm helping others. One may even come on here. But I got 5 months left to go on my 3 years, but I'm doing everything right, and this new one I have here in New Mexico, I mean, I'm good with her. And she says, I don't even have to worry about you, I mean, she came to check out where I live when I first got here and all that. And I had to go down to her office and, but I've given them nothing but clean urine, for 2.5 years. And, but it's not only just that. I mean, she says you're doing everything right, and I work for Wings for Life and she loves this organization because we're helping the kids and the families why people are doing time. And she knows my boss personally. And so, I got nothing to hide to her. So why not? And my friends that I did time with say, Shawn, you're giving her too much information about you, man. But if I'm doing the right thing, right?
You don't got nothing to worry about. That's like these people that walk into these PO offices, and they're like, God, am I going to go to jail today? Why are you thinking like that? Did you do something you're not supposed to be doing? Because if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, you can walk up in that office and know you're just going to check in and be done. I mean, I got to the point where my PO would come out to the lobby and she'd be like, you need anything? And I'd be like, no. And she'd be like, all right, bye. She tells me all the time, she's like, I wish I had 100 people like you because they can't figure it out. And I said, well, some people just like top ramen, I think.
So some of my friends that I done time with, they said, but Shawn, they have to send so many people back or they won't have a job. Is that true?
No.
I think they're
people going back. They don't need any extra ones.
Right.
There's programs that a lot of people don't understand too. Like when you come out, I know on stateside here, they can give you referrals to like the vocational centers and stuff like that. They can pay for counseling for you and stuff because they have that money. You just have to access it if you need those programs and stuff. And you can ask. Like right now in the state of Montana, if you come out, they are paying, if you go into sober living and stuff like that, they're paying your first 3 months of rent Federal side, they're paying your first month of rent, which kind of helps you get that little bit that gets you on your feet. A lot of people don't know that when they come out of state and federal, you're eligible for stipend money and stuff to get help you get back on your feet. And you can apply for that through your probation officer.
They call that gate money, right?
No, you get your gate money, plus you
Oh,
can apply for a stipend,
okay.
which gives you more money. Like I think on state side here, it's like 500 or something like that. I'm not sure what it is on federal side over here, but you can apply for extra money to help you.
Wow. I just want to take a minute. There's a guy in the comments that I went to high school with, Marco Villalobos. He was a drummer in a rock band in the 80s. You remember Marco? And I haven't talked to this guy in 40 years. He says, way to go, Shawn. Make us proud. Fight the good fight. You're welcome, Marco. You still play the drums? This guy could have been the next Ringo Starr. He also plays guitar and he sings. But Marco,
Nice.
it's good to see you, Marco. Yeah, so he says, make us proud. So, I went to high school with these guys. Yeah, I ended up in prison, guys. But I've turned it all around, 6 years clean and doing this show and helping others. And thank you guys for watching. Sorry. I had to say something about him because, I haven't talked to him in 40 years. So
You can
never know.
change
I
your
never
life,
know who's going to pop on the channel.
some people they'll struggle and they're like, it's hard, I can't do it, and that's a cop out. There was days that I sat in my PO's office and I cried because let me tell you, I was struggling when I came out. Because when you hit the gate and you got $100 to your name, anymore, that's nothing. Nothing. And I was like, really struggling and stuff like that. And I had a guy that I've known forever since he was practically in diapers and stuff. And he asked me to start managing him. Well, I didn't know nothing about music, but it just so happens I go to church with Omarion's whole family. And so I went to one of my friends and I said, look, I need a crash course. And I just kind of ran with it, and now I'm managing partner at TMI Radio, which is in your Play Store. You can download the app, and we have over 2 million listeners in and out of the country and stuff.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we play all kinds of music and stuff. And then, so I just kind of ran with it. And then I started getting, partnership with different music people and stuff. And like I do work with Freeway Rick Ross, who Freeway did time. He was looking at life sentence and he got out. And
he was looking at a life sentence and he got out. So can you tell
Freeway
us a little bit about that?
Freeway is the real Rick Ross. He got a life sentence and he found a loophole in his sentencing. And he
loophole!
got out.
Hear this? Listen, guys, loophole.
Big loophole. But he got out and then he started going to like different schools and talking to kids and stuff like that. He wrote a book and released it. He's the real Rick Ross, not the rapper Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross. And then I am partnered with Swab Churchill. He's down in California and stuff. We just got done with the Nipsey Russell documentary. It's getting ready to be released on Netflix.
The Nipsey Russell or the Nipsey Hussle?
Nipsey Hussle.
Hussle, yeah. Nipsey Russell, I'm giving away my age, but he's dead, right?
Nipsey Hussle, yeah, he got shot. But I just kind of ran with it, and stuff. Like I've given people different ideas. I had a girl over in Spokane, Washington, and she couldn't find a job. And so I gave her an idea and I said, look, this is the thing. I said, start doing birthday gift bags because moms and stuff, a lot of moms don't have time to go out and do what they got to do for birthdays. And she said, well, I don't have any money to start a business. And I said, well, you don't need any money. Take half down, buy your supplies. You can start out with dollar store supplies. Buy your supplies. When you deliver your bags, you get paid the rest of your money. Well, she just kind of ran with it, and now she's doing birthdays, she's doing gender reveals, she's doing weddings, and she's got 3 people that work underneath of her. And she started out with nothing. So when I get these people that come to me and they're like, well, I got a felony, I can't get a job. And I'm like, no, yes, you can.
Especially now, everybody's hiring now. They're desperate.
I came out with $100 and I have 2 businesses.
There you go.
You just
Hey, I got a guy. I
you
got
have
a
to
guy.
want
Sea
it.
Dog and Cooper Show podcast. He says I did time with him in Victorville.
Yep.
He's got a channel too, and I've been hearing good things about you, Sea Dog. I still got to check out your channel this weekend, but you've been vetted and blessed by all the other channels. You know how there's like 12 of us that all know each other, so I know you're a good guy. Check out his channel. Sorry. So he was in Victorville, I guess, huh?
Oh, he was. Yeah, I'm sure they sent him all over.
All over. Diesel therapy.
I pulled a guy out last year. Who was that? He went down with El Chapo, and I pulled him out 3 years early.
Really? So can you tell us how you did that?
Well, this is the thing. So when COVID started, they came out with home confinement. And U.S. Attorney General Barr sent down memos that gave criteria to come out under home confinement and stuff. And then I fight with a lot of them because they try to tell them they have to have 50% of their time done, which necessarily isn't true. That came
Tell everybody that that one time you only get one time to apply and all that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah. So on home confinement, they tried to say you have to do 50% of your time. Well, that was an internal memo that came from the Bureau of Prisons. So it didn't come down from the U.S. Attorney General. But I work with like my guys as case managers and unit managers and stuff like that to get them submitted for home confinement. Once I get them submitted and I know that their paperwork has been submitted, it goes to the probation offices on the outside to federal, because home confinement was only brought in, the CARES Act was only enacted for federal inmates. So once I get them submitted, then I work with the probation office to get their home checked and everything approved. And then it goes from probation, it goes over to the RRM, which is they're the ones that supervise like the halfway houses and pre-releases and stuff. So the RRM, once they sign off on it, then they're given an out date. So then we know when they're coming out. And usually it takes anywhere between 60 to 120 days, depending on, any little hiccups that we might run into and stuff. That's like these, I don't know why they didn't bring it into state, and then I had a girl, she went in on an 8.5 year sentence. And first year in, she'd done a year and she applied for a compassionate release. First time.
So can you explain the difference to the audience about the CARES Act and the difference between compassionate release? A lot of them don't know.
The CARES Act is when you come out. So say you were to come out right now, but your actual prison release date isn't until next July. Okay. So you're going to come out, you're going to be in your own home with an ankle monitor on. You're going to check in every week and do like a schedule of your movement. So it's just like if you were in pre-release, but you're living at home. You get called in for UAs, you have to go check in, you still have to let them know everything you're doing. And then you don't go from home confinement onto probation until that actual prison discharge date.
Right, because you're actually still an inmate when you're on home confinement.
Yeah, you're still inmate status under the BOP.
Yeah. Now a lot of guys that I did time with got approved for home confinement, but they still got to go check in at the federal halfway house. And they get to the halfway house and the halfway house tells them, well, you're going to be here a month or two before you go to home confinement. We're going to give you an 8-hour pass and a 12-hour and overnight and all this. And then if everything checks out every week, we'll give you home confinement. And then it depends. The halfway house has their own kind of probation officers that go to that. They run the home confinement program, which is different from what you're talking about when they go to home confinement. But don't they normally have to check in with the halfway house, and the halfway house kind of says...
This is what happens in that instances.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a case manager that really doesn't know what they're doing, and they mess up.
Sometimes.
I'm being nice, but they mess up on your paperwork, and they end up submitting you to the halfway house rather than straight to probation where they're supposed to send you. So you end up having to go to the halfway house and then transition to your home. I had one guy do that, and his case manager had him a mess. but we got it all straightened out. He's home. He just actually in May he just came out. He got his ankle bracelet off. He came off home confinement and stuff. I had a girl that got her bracelet off yesterday. Came off home confinement, and I work with the case managers, and the ones that I've worked with and stuff, we really haven't had any hiccups. I try to keep it as smooth as possible and stuff. I haven't had any of my people that have came out, I haven't had any of them return because I follow my people all the way out the door. And then I call and I check on them and I make sure everything's running smooth and we don't need to deal with anything because you've got to have that solid support outside. Because sometimes you've got these guys that have done 10, 15, 20 years and they come out and they're just kind of lost. And when you go, the problem with a lot of the system right now is you got people that have been in prison. So when you're in prison, you're in a very structured environment. They tell you, when you can shower, when you can sleep, when you're going to eat, when you go to work, whatever. Then they bring you to a halfway house. You're still structured. And then a lot of these halfway houses put you on transitional living in your own place. Well, they throw you out there. You ain't got no more structure. So these guys get, they're out there and they're like, I don't even know what to do with myself because they don't got anybody that's working with them to help them transition.
Yeah. I just did halfway house time. So.
Yeah, like all of my people, 2 weeks before my people get ready to come out, I go online and I put them on like housing lists and stuff, like Section 8, HUD housing. I put them on the list because the list is usually a year and a half, 2 years long. Then I go in and I file for their Medicaid so they have insurance when they come out.
So I was told at the halfway house we cannot apply for SNAP or food stamps or Medicaid until we're on probation because we're still actually an inmate.
Not if you're on home confinement because you're living in your own home and you have to buy your own food.
Okay.
So I apply for their food stamps for them. I apply for their medical and everything for them. So by the time they hit home, all their cards are there for them. Everything's there for them. If they need to get, their birth certificates or social security cards or whatever, to have that stuff when they come home to start working, because that's what they want you to do. As soon as you hit home, they want you to start working. Well, you got to be able to have that stuff.
Yeah, let me touch base on this because my case manager told me I'm not going to release you, give you any halfway house time unless you have your driver's license or state ID and social security card here at the prison. Now, I was smart enough to bring it with me, but my driver's license expired while I was doing time. But they let me. In California, you can do it by mail, and so they sent. I got to renew my license by mail, but my case manager said, "I'm not going to release you to the halfway house running around without an ID. You need to get that done. And if you don't have people on the outside to help you, or thank God California lets you do it by mail, but they were going to deny me any halfway house time. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, a lot of them, and then you get a lot of these people that don't have anybody out here. So if they need that, I can go online. I just get their information, their mom, their dad, whoever, whatever stuff.
And people need you. Yeah, they need a person like you.
I can go online. I can get all that for them, or I can send them, the forms to fill it out and apply for it. But I usually put the prison as their address, so it gets mailed directly to the prison.
That's what I did. My California ID had a Colorado address on it. for the prison,
Because, if you get stuck in there, if you ain't got no help out here, it's tough. I had a guy who was way over his release date in feds. And
and I want to talk about that too, because I that's happened to guys I knew. They have a surgery date, but they gave them a 2-year waiting list, and they get released in a year and a half. They've had to stay 6 months extra to get that surgery. Have you heard these horror stories that they do in the medical?
It's crazy. But this guy, so state and federal have no communication. So if you're on state probation and the feds come and arrest you, they don't call them and tell them. So this guy
they don't communicate with each other.
No, at all. No communication. So this guy, he had a state probation violation hold. He had his detainer. So I called his state PO, and his state PO, he told me if I knew where he was, he needed to check in because he'd been absconding for 2 years. And
Right.
so I explained to him that he wasn't absconding. He'd been sitting in federal prison for almost 3 years. So I gave him all the information, and he called over and he did his release on it. And he squashed the warrant and everything and stuff. And then he called me back and told me thank you because he found 4 other guys he was looking for, and he did their releases and stuff. And then I had another guy that had a 20-year-old driving ticket out of California that was holding him on a detainer.
Oh, I've
But,
heard of that happen. That
you
happens a
know,
lot.
yeah,
They
he
almost
said,
held me
"I don't
because
help out here, you're done."
right. No, I had they weren't going to release me because I drove across the Golden Gate Bridge without paying, and like a month before I was going to go, I didn't care about it, but I got somebody I had somebody on the outside to take care of that for me, but they were going to hold me because of that. Just for it was $100 ticket.
Yeah, I called the prosecutor in the county down in California. It took me a minute because I didn't realize how many courthouses they got in California. I'll tell you what.
Oh well, man.
Just in one couple counties, it's like crazy.
Every county, there's a county courthouse, but then every city within the county has a courthouse.
Yeah, and so I finally found it, and I talked to the prosecutor, and I told him where the guy was, and that he'd done 19 years. And so he said, he pulled the file up and everything and stuff. And he said, well, I think I can give him credit for time served on this. And I said, well, that would be great.
That's what I got. That's what I got done for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't give somebody credit for time served after they did 19 years on a driving ticket, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But
so let me ask you this. My biggest question I get from from people that call me is, I got a 5-year sentence. How much halfway house time can I get? Or how much home confinement, explain the difference in that. But, here's my answer. At my camp, we had 3 different case managers. There was one lady who was maybe 2 or 3 years new, and she would give you up to 12 months. Maybe 8 months was the average, right? For anybody doing like 4 years or more. There was another guy, he'd give you a month, period. He didn't care if you were doing 10 years or 20 years. He'd just give you a month. The other one I had for the RDAP, he said, you already get 6 months halfway house for RDAP. Don't even ask me for any extra time. That's what you get. And he didn't even want to give us that, but he had to. So I'm thinking it depends on the case manager and maybe the way you approach the case manager. A lot of case managers, they're getting ready to retire. They don't care about you. They're just worried about their pension and moving on. But then you get the new ones that actually want to help people. Then you got some, they've heard all your bullshit for 20 years. They don't care about you. You know what I mean? There's personalities that play into it, and some case managers are lazy, some aren't. So what do you?
Well, legally right now, because we're still technically in this pandemic.
Yeah.
Under the CARES Act, under U.S. bars, you can come out 18 months to the door.
18 months?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard you can theoretically you can do 18 months halfway house and transfer over to home confinement once you're there. But the most I've ever heard is 12 months.
Like I have a guy right now who I'm telling you, this boy, he got a wake up call. So he came out and he discharged his sentence about a year and a half ago. And then he got stupid and he caught a gun case. So he went back in, they gave him 51 months.
Okay.
But when he went back in
on a violation, 51 months on a violation.
No, he was on a new charge. He had already discharged his first federal sentence.
Okay.
But on his new charge, they gave him 51 months. Okay. So he went back in. Well, when he hit federal ground, his First Step Act credits, because they were giving you 10 days off a month good credit for classes and stuff.
Right.
So his First Step Act credits came in, gave him time off, and right now we're working on submitting him to come right back out under the CARES Act.
Now
I told him, I said, look, God gave you this one. This better wake you up. And he said, I'm done. Because I said, next time they're going to bury you.
Yeah. I got out in 2019, and they just started that First Step Act. And the case managers and counselors said, well, we don't even know how to calculate that time. We're not going to bother doing it until they give us some training on how to do it. And then one case manager says, So every month when you got new earned time credits, I'm not going to sit here and call the halfway house and change your date and refile your paperwork and all that. He goes, no, 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 no. Maybe I'll do it once a year for you, but I'm not going to, that's too much work. You know, we had 400 inmates and he had 150 on his caseload. He's going, I'm not going to sit here and recalculate your earned time credits every month. No, bullshit. And that was his attitude. But then like about a year ago, I know somebody got fired in the BOP, one of the head guys. Remember they kind of made them give everybody, they changed. So it used to be you had to have 8 hours of programming for every day to count for a day. Now you only need 1 hour a day to count for a full day's worth of credits. Do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe you can you touch base on what I'm saying?
They're recalculating a lot of people. They retroactivated it clear back to 2017. So if you are still even under halfway house, home confinement, federal probation, whatever, and you have any of that credit clear back to 17, they're recalculating it through the BOP. I think they're doing it up in Grand Prairie, but they're doing them in batches, is what they're doing. So I don't know.
So what about the case
oldest
manager?
To the newest, or what they're doing? Or
what about the case manager? Oh, I'm sorry. What about the case manager that doesn't want to do the paperwork? What about them?
The case managers, like, to get them to do paperwork is like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
They tell you,
if Grand Prairie's doing it, if it'll get done if Grand Prairie's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, they just tell them, you know, you can submit this paperwork, or you can write them a letter or whatever. But I mean, these case managers are lazy. I told one case manager at a prison, I said, look, dude, I've already done 9 of your cases. You want to send me your check? Because you're not doing your job.
Yeah, that's my thank you.
I mean, you know, it's like they make things harder than it needs to be, and why is beyond me. Like, I run circles around these people, and it's just they make it so complicated, and it's really not complicated. Most of it is a simple email that takes 2 seconds. You click a button, off it goes.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. And then I'm finding a lot of guys right now where, you know, they have, I don't know what they call it in federal prison, but like they have their open door time frame.
Oh yeah, they have open door times. Yeah, from 10 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, something like that. Yeah.
I've got one case manager at a prison. I won't say what prison, but like he'll make sure during that time frame he's not in his office.
Yeah,
so they can't go in and talk to them
all the time. That happens all the time. Yeah,
and I'm just like, dude, this is your job. What is your job? I mean, I filed 2 formal complaints against a case manager at a prison, and well, you know, that case manager no longer works there. But you know,
right?
I like to take jobs.
I got. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to get angry here because I don't want to say my case manager's name.
But I
thought he was a good guy until, you know, he took me on his caseload. And because I always thought, I hope I get him for a case manager. And then when I went to RDAP, he was my case manager. And he talked a good game, but he never did anything for you. His excuse was the halfway house is full. You know? Wrong. And, you know, back when I did my halfway house, they took 25% of my income for rent. Now they're not doing that. I don't know if they're going to go back to that. But so it used to be that they don't want to give you home confinement because then they don't get the 25%. Now I think they just get paid whether you're in the halfway house or on home confinement. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. These halfway houses and stuff like that, they're money markets because they get paid whether the bed is full or empty. They get paid so much for state and so much for federal. And then on top of that, they get the rent money from these people that are in there. And I mean, they're making, bank.
Oh,
it's a multi-million-dollar thing, you know, and stuff. And like this one case manager, I was talking to this one case manager, and this case manager is acting like he was going to lose his job. And I said, look, this is the thing. I said, you're acting like if you let somebody out, you're going to lose your job or something. And I said, I've got 86 federal guys sitting in my jail in one town in the United States. I said, for every one you give me, I can give you 5. You're not losing any
Yeah,
people. You're not
right.
losing money.
Yeah. Crime's
You
going up.
know,
It's not going down.
right? It's not, I mean, like, you're not going to lose your job, dude. You
Yeah.
have job security. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And stuff. That's like one prison when the pandemic first hit, they had a shredder truck outside and they were shredding documents.
You told me about that.
And
And
it
I
was
want to get
just
to the
like,
comments. Frank and all you guys will get you in a second, but can you tell us about this? The BOP shredding paperwork. Tell us about this.
I had one of my guys get a hold of me through some other ways, but
Sure.
they were shredding documents. Straight
I
shredding
mean,
documents.
that's that's a felony. That's so many
Well, they're doing a
charges
lot of
right there.
felonies. I mean, that's like so one guy at one of my prisons, his case manager was fighting me to submit him for home confinement. He met all the criteria because before I take a case for home confinement, I get their name, where they're sentenced out of and everything. I go on Pacer, I read through their whole entire case file to make sure there's nothing that's going to hem us up from filing for home confinement. Well, this case manager didn't want to file him. And I said, look, he is fully in criteria. And so I try to get more bees with honey, but I had to pour out some vinegar. And I said, this is the deal. I said, if you don't submit my guy for home confinement, I said, I'm going to call up to the BOP. I said, I'm going to ask for formal charges to be filed against you because the CARES Act is a federal law and you are breaking it.
God bless you.
That is a felony.
Janice, let me catch up on some comments, and there's a question for you from Jerry at the bottom, but I'm going to Janice says, wow, the service she provides is so needed. So sad there aren't people like Lady Lion everywhere. And Frank's positive vibes. So let me give Frank a shout out. He's got a channel, and it's exactly what it says, guys. Frank's positive vibes. Frank did some time, turned his life around. He's in recovery. He's got shows on, how to get out, how to turn your life around. Just check out Frank's positive vibes. He's a great guy. He wants to know if we ever heard of the Band-Aid bandit in the feds. He says back in the 90s. And then I want to get to Jerry's question for you. Have you heard of the Band-Aid bandit? I haven't. I have not.
So this is the thing. We got Jerry down here.
I want to get to Jerry. So
Jerry says, personal question. I am 67 and about to start a 30-month sentence. What is the best case scenario of getting out of early? Jerry,
I get those questions every day, so take it away.
Jerry, are you doing federal time or state time?
He's probably doing federal because he's on my channel. I would bet he's doing.
So
when he says months, that's usually federal time.
Okay.
30 months is a federal sentence.
So Jerry, if you're doing federal time, you can get with me and I can give you my email, my phone number, and everything like that. 15 months, if not sooner, we could probably get you pulled out because you are over 50 years old. Under the CARES Act, you are in criteria.
He says federal.
Okay. So I need to get with Jerry and
yeah, Shawn, I didn't know if I could put your information up there. I could do it now. What's that? I can?
Yep.
I'll post your number now. I'll put it on the banner, guys, here. I only have your phone number. I don't know I have your email too.
Early morning guys are not a good time.
Not a good time, guys. I'll post your phone. Can I give me your phone number? Because I can't really look up the email from where I'm at here.
You can give him my phone number too.
Okay, I'll put that on here, guys. Just give me a second. And so you said because they're over 50 now. Guys call me all the time, but when I was doing my time, you know how many guys applied for that compassionate release? There was a guy who was 85 years old. He got approved by everybody. The warden signed the papers, everything. And a year and a half went by. I finally got released, and he never did.
Compassionate releases are very, very hard to get. But what people don't understand is You want to do your CARES Act home confinement first. Because
First.
once you come out and you're on home confinement, because you're still inmate status, you can file for compassionate release once you're out, which actually gives you a better chance because you can go to the judge and you can put in there and you can say, look, I have been out, say, 3, 4, 6 months already. Okay.
Right.
I have held a job. I am going to my treatments. I am going to meetings. And then you can get your letters of support from people, like your boss or people from church, whatever. And then you have those to put in with your compassionate release too, which builds you a stronger case to
There, I
present
got
in
her
front of
number
the
up there,
judge,
guys.
to present in front of the judge rather than the judge getting compassionate releases from the prison where all they're really seeing is what the prison says. They're not seeing outside entities saying, okay, look, he's doing good. This is what he's been doing.
So I imagine Jerry will get a hold of you, and thank you.
Okay, Jerry. What state are you out of, Jerry?
He'll answer us in a minute.
Yeah.
So you were telling me wait till you got 50% of your time to apply because if you apply too early, you don't get a second chance. Is that right?
Not for compassionate release. Compassionate
Okay, that's
release.
for the CARES Act then?
No, that's not the CARES Act. The CARES Act for home confinement and the compassionate release are two separate entities.
Which is the one that you only get one chance to apply?
That's a compassionate release that goes to your federal judge.
Okay.
And once you apply, and if you get shot down denied, that's your one-time shot. You're done.
We have a question for you from Sea Dog. My brother's in the feds. Got a 17.5 on a RICO. Will he get a 1-year halfway house? 17.5.
I would have if you can get a hold of me, I can take a look at his case. I can't really speak on cases unless I read through them and kind of look and see what we're working with. And I don't want to say, oh, well, they can do this or they can do that if I haven't looked at the case. They also look and make sure, like they go up to 10 years back on any violence for home confinement too.
Yeah, 17 and a half years he got. I would think you can get a year halfway house on that long of a sentence. Even with that case manager I told you that, barely gives you a month. You do that much time. I would say.
Yeah, Jerry says he's going to El Reno. I've got guys in El Reno, Jerry. Afternoons are about the best. Evenings are good to call me.
Yes, Katrina, we see your comment. Her son just got out of the feds, and she's got a hell of a story to talk about that. I think he did almost 2 years of diesel therapy. They actually never sent him to a location. Crazy.
They don't like to help anybody.
Well, he fought a case and got charges reduced and all this stuff and won. And if you win a case in the feds, you're their enemy.
Well, that's like right now, my son, they just indicted my son last October. And so I've been working on his case and stuff. We got him down to a 30-month plea. He'll do 14 to 16 months and stuff. But the marshals that arrested him, I had to file on because they did some dirty deeds.
You filed on the marshals. Oh, I got to hear about this.
So my son was strung out on methamphetamine. Okay. And he was trying to go out suicide by cop. So I went into the courts and I put it on record. I put it on record with the marshals. I put it on record with the police department, everybody, so they were aware because I wasn't trying to bury my son. I had mentally prepared myself to bury my son.
It's a good thing you made other people aware, and because then now the marshals got to watch their back too.
So the marshals, one of the marshals, texted me the morning they took my son into custody. And he said, I just arrested your son. I said, did he have a gun? He said, yes, he did. But he texted me that he had a gun before he took him to the jail. Then he proceeded to take my son to the jail, uncuff him in booking with a gun in his waist.
And let him bring that in.
Let
Now,
him
right
bring you
there, that
in.
is not police procedure or any
Well, we
procedure.
all know this.
We know this.
And then on the Marshals um, statement that he provided, he said that my son had 2 pairs of pants on, that he didn't find the gun and everything. But
No way. No way.
I
Smart
already,
marshals know better. That no, no
I
way.
already had it on a text message. So I called up the U.S. Justice Department and I filed a formal complaint. I sent them a copy of it, and the times don't match up of when it was sent and when he went to jail. And so they're investigating that. And then my son's federal attorney, he was a little slow when I first met him, and I went up in his office and I schooled him real fast. So we pulled his evidence file from his property file from what he had on, and it showed that he did not have 2 pairs of pants, and so there was no way that they, all this just was a mess. So they were trying to get my son with this gun, but all they could get him for on the gun was a person under indictment because he had no adult criminal history whatsoever. So they gave him 6 months on that, but he's already got that down. He'll have 10 months August 3rd when he gets sentenced.
Okay.
So that'll be done and stuff. But I mean, these people are just, they think they can get away with so much stuff.
And they do, though. They do
I
get away with
understand they
it.
do, but you have to, when you're dealing with things, you have to look outside the box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these public defenders and stuff, like they get paid, the state public defenders get paid like 10 grand when you just sign a plea.
Their job's done. Now they,
And
now
what a lot of people don't understand is if you're being prosecuted by the state and you have a state public defender, it's a conflict of interest because he's being paid by the state to represent you.
Sure.
And you can fight that. But they just don't. Like my son's federal attorney, I went up in there and we were supposed to have a phone conference. And he said, well, I can't get a phone call with your son until tomorrow morning. And I said, that don't work for me. So I called the jail. I made them put him in a room and we did our phone conference. And when we got out the phone conference, he said, I would have never believed that if I didn't see it. And I said, well, I don't take no for an answer.
How did you make them give you the call?
Well, I know a few people.
Okay.
I deal with a lot of the jails over here and stuff, but like, I mean, when my son first went in there, he's in Basin, Wyoming now. And when he first went in, the captain called me and she said, how many of your boys are in my jail? And I said, well, as far as I know, I only have one son and that's the only one that's in there. And she said, well, I have a half a dozen that say you're their mom. I said, well, that sounds about right. I mean, I probably have about 400 adopted kids, but if you have got a lot of people's families, like, it's almost like they get scared to fight with these people. And I'm not scared in any given way. We just fired my son's state attorney. I had to fire this fool 4 times because he wouldn't go away. And
really? He refused to get fired, kind of thing?
Yes. He wasn't very nice. And so we just got a new attorney. I think this one's going to be all right. And I meet with him this next week. But you have to fight these people. Don't be scared.
But they are scared. You know that.
They are. That's just like people that are in prison. They're scared to file, their BPs. They're scared to file grievances and stuff.
Yeah, I was scared to write grievances reports. I was scared.
And I understand
they're going to put me in the shoe and take me away from this nice camp, and I'll be behind a fence. And I'm scared
but I
to write.
understand that. I mean, they used to I got to the point where I was always fighting with them. I'd file grievances up all the time. And then they got to the point where I would tell them, they were like, well, you're going to go to the hole. Well, let's go because I can have breakfast in bed. I'm good. Well, if they know you like to go, then they stop sending you there because they know it's not a punishment.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the hole a couple times. Don't get me wrong. But when I went to the hole, I just made them bring me a stack of law books and I just kept on reading.
They brought you law books in the hole because from my experience in the hole, yeah, they're supposed to give you a book and a shower and all this other stuff. We didn't get nothing in the hole. A shower maybe once a week.
Oh no, they have to give you.
I know they have to. They have to, but they're not doing it.
And I mean, I've got a guy right now in Connecticut who's fighting. He's on appeal right now, and he should win this appeal. They gave him 60 years state, and he was in Montana, and he got shipped over to Connecticut because he wanted out of Montana. But this boy, I'll tell you what, he's done so much law work, and he's studied so much law. He is a great attorney. And
Wow.
like I talked to him about a lot of my cases and stuff, and he worked
Okay.
with me on a lot of stuff, and he's been working on my son's case and stuff. But he is amazing. And when he wins this appeal, which he'll probably get this appeal and he'll get out, and
Good.
then he'll start working with me and stuff. But so many people are like just scared, like in a lot of these prisons, if they, especially state, if state finds out you get your parole, these officers will do everything they can to take it from you.
Yeah.
And it's so wrong.
It is wrong.
That's like the federal prison over in California, Dublin. They just
Dublin.
Arrested the warden, the chaplain, and
did.
an officer for molesting women, raping women.
Yeah. I have a friend, Angie. She has a channel called Prison Talk with Angie, and I worked with her before she went to Dublin, and now she's out and she has a channel. And there's a couple other women I've worked with that went to Dublin, and you are absolutely right about Dublin. And they're raping women in there. It's horrible conditions for these women at Dublin. Dublin's got some problems.
Alabama State Women's Prison's the same way. And I have a guy in Alabama State Prison I'm in, and I've got live feed of things going on in there. And they don't even have enough beds for inmates in there for everybody to have a bed. And it's just,
I think Angie would love to have you on her channel. She's working right now, or she'd be on the chat room, but because I'm doing everything I can, because there's not a lot of channels out, prison channels out there for women that done federal time. So and Angie's fighting for, she's trying to help women, she's trying to help the women coming out of prison or going into prison. So and we need more women like you. There's just not a lot of women out there helping other women. So I'm blessed that I met you.
There's a lady, Pamela Burt. She fought for her husband, Quentin Burt. He did 30 years, and she got him out. And, I mean, she went up to bat. She went to legislature. She went to everybody. And, I mean, she, started making changes and stuff, because you have to fight. You cannot be scared to be heard, because under the First Amendment, you have freedom of speech anyways. So don't be afraid to speak out about how you feel, because, I mean, even if they're just your feelings, and if you tell people, in my opinion, you could say anything you want and can't be charged anyways.
Well, I wouldn't, the feds, I don't trust the feds, everything I say.
Well, the feds have got a new thing they brought in. It's called a dry indictment, and they can pretty much.
I had that on my notes here. But let me just say hi to Genghis Oyster Sauce. He's another guy who did time, has a channel, turning his life around. I'm doing an interview with him later today. It'll be on his channel. Spinal, I'm not going to post what you said, but I know you're a good dude. And Sea Dog says,
I know he didn't say that. Spinal, you're off the chain.
He is a good guy, but I'm not putting him right there. But Sea Dog wants to know, Convicted Hearts. That is a woman who has a channel, and she's helping other women in the whole her whole genre. So that's another good lady. I do watch her show. She's out of California, I believe. I think she's I want to say San Jose, but anyways, let's talk about the what did you call it? Not dry snitching. What did you call it? Dry what?
Dry indictment.
Yeah.
There's a guy in prison that it was summertime, and he was in the park, and they were all barbecuing. Everybody's around, there's a million people out there, and he was walking to his car. Another guy was walking toward him, and the guy threw a bag of garbage in the garbage and just kind of nodded his head like, "What's up?" and walked by him. And 3 years later, they came back and indicted him, and he didn't even know this guy. But they can get you by association. I mean, it's scary because
it does. You know what? I take it back. That is dry snitching. That is dry snitching on their part.
I mean, you walk by somebody, and say hi to them in the store kind of makes you paranoid if they're going to come get you for something because you don't know that person. You know what I'm saying? I had
Yeah.
another guy who went down. He went to an auto auction to buy a car for his wife, and the people that were supposed to buy the car didn't show up. And he got a really good deal on this car, got pulled over, and all the seats were full of methamphetamines, and he had no idea. But possession's 9/10 of the law.
Yeah, 9/10 of the law. Yeah.
It's like, I feel, I'm just like, dang. Like, I started out with some cases in Latuna, and then, like, my name just ran across the United States. I had people calling me. I didn't even know where half these prisons were. I had to look them up. But
Yeah.
I deal with about 16 federal prisons right now.
Wow. Katrina's in the room. This is the lady, her son just finally got out. She says the feds will put your number in a database to be ignored. Did it to me. Had to file with OIG to get anywhere. I don't know what OIG is. Do you know what she's talking about?
I don't know what OIG is.
Katrina, she'll answer us. But this lady, Katrina, has been so proactive to help get her son released. I mean, she called the BOP, she's calling prison, she's calling lawyers, she's calling prosecutors. She did so much. Katrina, and I wouldn't be surprised if you end up being like Lady Lion, Katrina. If you did what you did for your son, now maybe Katrina, you can do it for the next person.
Is her son still in?
No, he finally got out a few weeks ago.
Oh, good.
Finally, though. I mean,
it takes time. I mean, I get some of these wives, and they'll call me and they'll be like, "Look, you've had my husband's case for 2 weeks. Why ain't he home?" And I said, "It don't work that way. we don't come home in 2 weeks. It takes. I mean, probation has, a standard 30 days to do your paperwork, anyways. And then the RRM has 30 days to do your paperwork.
Yeah.
You got 60 right there. And stuff. Then right now, I mean, depending on if you're vaccinated or not, you got to go through quarantine to come out.
Right.
And stuff. So, I mean, it's not a fast process. I mean, it does get done, but it is not a fast process. I fought for a guy almost a year, and New York didn't want him back. It was in his sentence and judgment. They did not want him back.
Oh, yeah, New York, stay out of our state. They can actually do that?
Yeah.
Really?
And he just came back, came out this month. He's doing good and stuff. But see, like, I'm a detective. So, if I can't get a hold of somebody at the prison, which sometimes they just ignore you. So, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. So a lot of times I can find them on LinkedIn and start talking to them. I did that with federal BOP probation office. I found the head guy in a state, and I went to him and actually got this guy help to get him home and stuff. But like, if I can't find him one way, I'll find him another. I mean,
okay. She says it's Office of Inspector General. I still haven't heard of that, but.
Oh, okay.
And she said 101 days late getting released. Yeah. Shawn, is your son? Did you say state or federal?
Federal.
And is he going to get halfway house or home confinement, or how much probation time did they give him when he gets released?
This is the thing. So my son kind of lost his mind when he started using meth. So he stacked himself on state side and he stacked himself on federal side. So right now we've got federal tied in. We've got a good plea on federal. And now we're working on state side. But 3 of his charges on the state side, they've done messed up on because they didn't ever serve him with a warrant or take him in front of a judge while he's been incarcerated for 10 months. So I'm going to work on getting those dropped. Because you have to be arraigned within 72 hours of being incarcerated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fighting.
So
I'm fighting.
So the state could take. So when he gets released from the feds, the state could take him.
They could rid him over, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they run it all concurrent. I don't know.
Well,
Spinal wants to know.
the thing about Montana is like I know a lot. I know a lot of people here, so I know a lot of people in the pro board and stuff like that. So it gives me a little edge in this state. That's why it's really hard for me to do a lot of state cases unless I actually go out to that state, because federal, I can go on Pacer, pull their file, and read the whole entire file. State, I can't pull their file to read through it to see what we're looking at.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So it's a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Spinal wants to know how do y'all get along with SIS?
What is SIS?
I think that's the. I should know this. That's the investigative state investigative. It's kind of like when you let's say I get caught with a cell phone and in prison, so they throw me in the shoe and they're going to have a 90-day investigation. I think this is the SIS comes in. They're the ones who kind of do the investigation.
Talking about the hearings people that do the hearings.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was called SIS. We used to call them the Nazis, but in the prison.
I mean, I don't think it's. I don't know. I've never heard SIS. I mean,
Spinal. Elaborate a little bit. And Katrina is saying OIG is over the BOP.
Nice.
It's good to know somebody's over there.
In the BOP, Colette Peterson. So I'm really hoping that she'll start doing some things and changing some things. Right now I have a guy who I'm trying to convince him to run for presidency in 2024, because that would really put my foot in the door. Yeah. So he was going to talk to his lawyers and stuff and see about it. But I mean, they just really need to just fire everybody up there and rehire him. I mean, look at Mike Carvelli, the head of BOP. Mike, I mean, he just straight walked out, like, and it makes you wonder, what did you do that you just all of a sudden quit?
Right. I mean, how many? I
mean, they've already arrested a lot of people in the BOP for corruption and stuff.
They actually have. They actually have. They actually have been starting to do that and arresting the CEOs that are raping women, and there's a few. So there are a few CEOs that actually rape men. The men that rape the men. Now you hear about a woman with a man, but.
I just had a guy at a county jail that was sexually assaulted by a female kitchen worker. So we filed a PREA and stuff on it. You know, he was scared. And I said, don't be scared. You know, it's not right. That's committing a crime. If you are raping somebody, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you're inside a facility, outside a facility, that is still a felony.
Oh, yeah.
You still
a lot of guys are going to tell you, well, it's not rape. If it's a woman guard, it's not rape. But sometimes,
I mean,
it's a manipulation of
Well, the whole thing is even if say you got a woman's prison or a man's prison, it doesn't matter, and you got even them consenting. Okay, you cannot consent while you are in custody.
That's right. You are not allowed to. You can't even shake their hand.
No, you are not allowed to consent to any kind of anything while you are in custody.
Right. Yeah, I did a video last year. So when I was at the camp, but I worked at the Supermax in the daytime, and then they drive us over in the day, bring us back at night. But there was a guy in there that was having sex with one of the women correctional officers. But it was consensual, but she got caught. And I remember they put the whole place on lockdown. She ended up getting 2 years for it, but she kept her job for like a year after that. And the guy's, I've talked to him on my show before. But yeah, it was consensual, but he didn't say nothing. He could have probably got released had he said something, but he kept his mouth shut. And it was consensual, but it's also manipulation, because she came on to him, because I knew the lady, I knew the correctional officer when I was in there. I mean, she even flirted with me a few times, And had I reached out, it could have been me. But she did this with a lot of guys. One time we were looking at a magazine on our break, and it had some like supermodels on there or something. She goes, "Why are you looking at those women when you could look at me?" What kind of correction? What that was her personality.
That's professional.
Yeah, very professional. I'll never forget when she said that.
That is insane. I just heard too that the BOP is pretty much going broke, and they sent out a memo supposedly to all the federal judges to start sentencing on lower guidelines. And I pulled a guy out who had done 28 years on an eighth of weed. And I was just like, it's insane.
Wow.
But back then they were handing out all these mandatory minimums and all these heavy sentences.
Yeah, the mandatory minimums. It used to be 50 grams of either cocaine or meth was a mandatory 5 years. They're not doing that anymore.
No, and they just passed the Equal Act too.
Good.
From powder cocaine and crack cocaine.
Yeah, that was the first step back was a guy would get 25 years for, let's just say, 5 pounds of crack. But if the guy had 5 pounds of powder cocaine, he'd get 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump had kind of had something to do with that. Whether you like him or not, thank him for that. There's a couple comments here I want to catch up on. Gangish Oyster Sauce says, "Can you ask your guest if I can access my DOC records? I left DOC in 2012.
Yes, you can access your DOC records. You need to get a hold of the Department of Corrections in your state.
Okay. And
Usually
he's also
if you
said
call the parole board or something, the parole board can get them for you, or your old PO can get them for you. But unless you want your prison ones, those are going to have to come through DOC. But everything else, the court ones and stuff, you can go to the courthouse and get a copy of everything.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know. Katrina says, OIG is a federal agency that oversees all others. If you tell a BOP person that you're in the process of filing a complaint with OIG, they all of a sudden do their job. Really?
Yeah, because I have numbers to all the regional offices, and if I call them and file a complaint, the regional offices are over, each region has so many prisons underneath of it. So they're over those prisons. So if you file a complaint with the regional office, then they have to contact that prison to look into things.
Here we go. SIS. Special Investigation Services. Yeah, that's right. The Nazis, like I said, they do all of the investigations after a fight, drug introduction, PREA, etc. At BO prisons, I only experienced them in USPs. No, they came to the camps too, Spinal. The Lows, they're everywhere. They're headquartered at the penitentiary, but they'll come over to the camp as soon as they get the call that it's something, and they go visit all the people in the shoe that are on there. Special investigative services. Now I remember. I forget. I'm starting to forget things about prison, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Katrina says Cargival is being sued by the union president of a federal facility. Do you know what that is, Cargival?
I think she's talking about Carvalli.
Oh, that was he
was the head of BOP.
Right, the one who got fired or took an early retirement.
He took an early retirement.
Yeah, right.
He resigned. When I heard that, I was like, why did he walk out the door? It's insane.
She says they have special investigative services at every federal facility. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, they do.
And Genghis says, that's all? Just call them?
Well, yeah, you should be able to call them and get your records.
Okay. All right. Katrina says FSA did away with a lot of the mandatory minimum. Obama did the Equalizer Act for crack versus powder sentences. So I thought that was Trump with the First Step Act. I thought that was what the First Step Act was really meant to do. and all this other good time off and first in earned income, earned time credits just came along as part of the package.
I think Trump just changed the name to the Equal Act. Is what they did.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, every politician wants to take credit for something that,
well, of course they do.
You know, so who really knows? You know, they still say Obama phones because at my Wings for Life, I do Obama phones on the side for people that come in our office, and that's gonna stick. It's always gonna be called an Obama phone. What are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah. The other thing I kind of want to touch base on is people that go down with like felons in possessions and guns and stuff. So if they're going to give you a 922G, which is what you get for a gun, you need to make sure, please, I can't emphasize this enough, please make sure that your attorney gets it stated in your paperwork that if it is non-violent, make sure it states non-violent, because otherwise it will hurt you inside. It will hurt you under home confinement.
Because that's good to know.
You can't have violence and stuff for home confinement.
Can you
have explain? To make sure that it's stated non-violent.
Non-violent. You hear that, guys?
Yep.
And can you explain gun enhancement to me? Because I know that sometimes they get caught, you know, at the bank or whatever. Or let's say they get caught at the Mexican border with, you know, drugs. But at home they have a rifle and they go search their house and they call it gun enhancement. Or can you even for me, can you kind of relate on that? Talk about that?
I'm not real savvy on that one, but they do use it, and I think it's just kind of a leverage tool to bump up your points, because they can give you a 2-point enhancement, a 3-point enhancement, depending on how they tie it into your case.
Okay,
because really, if you didn't use it at the scene, then you can fight it because you didn't have it with you. So you can fight that enhancement.
All right. So when I got to do the RDAP, I got a year off my sentence, and there was 3 different guys that had gun enhancement charges. And,
anything with a gun on RDAP, you can do RDAP, but you do not get the year off.
But here's where I was going with this. So 2 out of the 3 guys got denied the time off. One guy actually got the time off because he had like a World War II rifle in his closet or something, and they charged him with a gun enhancement. He found a way, and I don't remember how he did it, to get the time off.
He now was they're using this thing that, like, okay, so in Montana, they're using gun statutes. If the gun wasn't made in Montana and it was made somewhere else, then they can enhance you on it, which is not like we have factories over here.
Well, I remember he was shocked to find out he got his year off too, and he didn't even know how he got it. You know, I mean, he told me later, and I can't remember.
I did have a guy that had a 922G, and it didn't state violent or non-violent.
Right.
And like, it took me an act of God to get it stated non-violent, because it wasn't violent, but they did put it in there. And getting the courts to do anything for you is, I mean, it took me like 3 months to get that changed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know.
So I don't know if you know this, but I went to Florence, the camp in Florence, Colorado. We had art. So if you're in California, there are no RDAP programs in the camps. The Lowe's have them in that. But the nearest place was Sheridan in Oregon or Florence. Now they've moved the RDAP, check this out, to the penitentiary. Penitentiaries have never even had RDAP. But the warden at Florence somehow found a way, probably for kickbacks. Now the penitentiary is going to have RDAP. So I have 4 guys in Florence that are all going to get transferred to La Tuna or somewhere else. Some of them are halfway through their RDAP, and they don't have enough time left to finish their RDAP, and they're going to lose out. And the rest are just waiting to get transferred, so there won't be any more RDAP at the Florence camp. And I can't believe that the penitentiary is going to have RDAP. Most of those guys don't qualify because of their crimes. And if you know anything about RDAP, you got to get on stage and do a pull up and say, "I saw you stealing chicken out of the kitchen." And I mean, they make you do this kind of. And I can't see anybody in a penitentiary even graduating from RDAP. But this is news they just want to put out there. So Florence Camp no longer has RDAP.
Well, I had heard that they're working on shutting some federal prisons down because I mean they don't have the money, you know, and it's gonna hurt a lot of people. That's like I have a couple guys over in Atlanta. They were moved from Talladega. They were told they were going to Atlanta for a work detail to work on the Atlanta main prison because it got tore up and they had found like all kinds of stuff in the walls and they were going to rebuild it or something. And my guys are at like 0 points camp status and they got moved to a higher level. So I've been working on trying to get them back down to a camp or even transferred because they shouldn't even be there. They pretty much got punished when they were supposed to be on this work detail.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They tell these guys, or they'll come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and roll them up, and all of a sudden they're on Con Air going God only knows where. And then the other myth that I run into is a lot of people think that they have to send you 500 miles from home.
That's if you don't request anything. They try to keep you within 500 miles.
Well, the thing is by law, at 18 to 2 years prior to getting out, they have to have you, or you can request to be within 500 flight miles. It's not driving.
Flight miles.
Flight
really?
miles. That's where a lot of people get confused because they're like, "Oh, well, my husband's way longer than 500 miles," and I'm like, "No, it's flight miles."
Wow.
So
I know
sometimes
you have co-defendants at other facilities. You can't go there, or you're gang affiliated, or they just don't have room for you or something. They'll send you more than 500 miles, but I haven't heard the flight mile. Wow. Okay.
Monique, if we if you get a hold of me, we can get with Grand Prairie and see if we can get him redesignated because 19 years old, he doesn't need to go to Beaumont. I mean, we do got some people in there. I mean, I could probably get somebody to watch over
Beaumont's
him.
not a good place.
Beaumont is bad. Beaumont was just shut down for 6 solid months because they had a serious riot over there. But I know Chad Marks, he was in Beaumont, and he's got a lot of guys and stuff in there. I could talk with him. But if we can get a hold of Grand Prairie and see if we can get him redesignated. Is he in Pahrump right now, or is he in Oklahoma holding? Where is he, Monique?
I had heard Oklahoma, they closed it down, or it's temporary.
No, they got it open. I just got a guy that went. My one guy was designated to Seagoville in Texas. He went to Pahrump. They just sent him to Oklahoma, and now they're trying to send him down to Louisiana. It's because these prisons are so full that they're just shipping people wherever because they don't got no beds. My one guy in Herlong, he was supposed to go to Terminal Island because he's a care level.
Yeah, that's closed. Or no, Taft. That's Taft.
No,
Taft
Terminal. Yeah, he was supposed to go to Terminal Island because he's a care level 2, and he's stuck in Herlong.
Wow.
And so I'm working on, but he's my guy that just came up, so he can come home on home confinement. So we're working on just submitting him and getting him home.
Okay. Monique, Monique, here's her number on the screen there.
Her son is, I mean, that baby's only 19 years old. My Lord.
Yeah. How much time did he get too? I'm wondering. 19.
Sure.
I don't know. It's kind of, you don't see too many youngsters in a camp because of their age. They automatically get 8 custody level points against them. So if you're 18 and 25, I think it's 8 custody level points. You need 11 or less to go to a camp. If you self-surrender, they give you -3, so you could almost say 14 points to go to a camp if you're self-surrendering. But when you're 19, that's 8 points right there. Besides your criminal history, if you don't have a GED, they take off to add 2 more points. So I don't know.
But if you're married, they take off 3.
Now this is all news to me. I never saw that one. What? No, okay.
My son was actually working on his divorce, and so he's gonna get an extra 3 points taken off his sentencing guideline because he's still married. So we're just gonna put it on hold until after.
Oh, so that's sentencing guidelines. I'm talking custody level.
Okay, yeah.
There's two different point systems in the feds.
Yeah.
There's your sentencing points and your custody points, and a lot of people feel that they don't get that.
Yeah,
so
and then you got your pattern score, which is so
sentencing
backwards.
points is how much time you get. Custody level is where they send you.
Yeah, like your pattern score is so backwards because a high is low and low is high, and then you got the in between, and that is just ridiculous. I'm like, why don't you make high, high, low, low? Why would you even change it around? You know, and like the other thing I tell my people, I was just talking to Shawn before we came on the show, is when you get out of prison, and I cannot emphasize this more, do not get in a relationship for at least a year. That is what trumps people and hurts them so bad so many times because you're already dealing with so many stressors. Do not get in a relationship. I've had guys go back because of relationships. I just had a guy abscond because his girlfriend was at a pre-release and she escaped, and so he went with her. But he did do the right thing. He turned himself back in. We got him 8 months, and then he'll come back out. But do not get in relationships.
So I did 6 months San Francisco halfway house. Half of those guys never got sent back because of a relationship. And the women too. There was a lot of women that got sent back. They going hooking up with, whoever. And they got sent back. Yeah.
Well, they try to tell me, they're like, well, I got needs. I'm like, look, bro, hit it, quit it, and run.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get in that relationship.
So let's see. Katrina says you can try to fight gun enhancement. Probably antique with no working fire pin is an exception. Yeah. So I think that's what my friend had. It was it World War I rifle, something like that. Maybe it was Civil War rifle. But that's how he got
the serial number on them.
Yeah, I don't know, but he got the year off. Got a guy doing time with Big Weavy. Check out his channel, guys. That's my buddy, the Hillbilly, and he's turned his life around. He hasn't been to prison, but he's been to jail like 30 times. Not lately, not in a long time, but he's got a great channel, guys. Check him out. What do we got here? Monique is back. I know I heard. I don't understand why they would send him there. He is waiting on Oklahoma to pick him up. Should be next week. He could be waiting a while, but oh God, he's going to Oklahoma. Oh no.
That's okay. I got a guy in Oklahoma right now. Monique, this is the other thing, because a lot of moms, they get all crazy. So once your son is picked up to go to Oklahoma and you try to pull him up in the BOP and it says not in BOP custody, it's because he's in transport. He will not show up in BOP custody until he hits a federal facility where he's going. So don't get really, really scared if you can't find him. If you really, really need to know where he's at and you haven't heard from him, you could call me. I could probably pretty much find him. But Don't get upset if it says not in BOP custody, because marshals do not put them on there where they're at while they're in transport. It's a security issue. It's dumb.
It's security, safety issues. Plus
I don't know why they don't want you to know. It's just dumb. Like I've called prisons and I've been talking to them, and I'm like, I know he's coming out, and I'll ask questions, and they're like, well, we can't tell you. Well, I already know because I'm picking him up at the airport. But it's their little power and control issue, and it's a security thing. So don't get really. I know moms worry because trust and believe. My son's sitting inside. I'm with you.
I talked to a lot of mothers. I just talked an hour and a half 2 nights ago. A mother, her son, he was in Florence and they stopped his RDAP, and now she's so worried he's not even going to get it. And anyways, I talk to worried mothers all the time. I get it.
What they do is they put them on a transport list, and then the marshals come and get him. I mean, He might be on a transport list for next week. He might be the following week. It just depends. They'll take him, they'll put him on an airplane, and they'll ship him out. Everybody goes Con Air. My
Con
son's
Air,
tripping because my son was like, I ain't flying. I said, well, I got news for you. They done booked your ticket. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't be like Mr. T on the A-team. I ain't getting on no plane, Hannibal.
But
Remember that?
Monique, tell your son if he has any clue of when he's going, what day he's leaving, tell him do not drink anything for 10 hours before he's shipped, because you cannot use the bathroom on Con Air, honey.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
They don't let you up. You will wet your pants. They don't care.
Yeah. That's good advice. That's right.
Do
And
not.
Monique, do you know if he's going to a camp or a low or a medium? I'm curious. Katrina
He said he's
says,
going to Beaumont, so I'm wondering if his points are kind of high, because Beaumont's not a nice place.
no, it's not. I don't think they have a camp there. I think it's a low and a medium.
Yeah, Beaumont's not a camp.
Yeah, so
I'm wondering, why they're shipping him to Beaumont, and he's 19 years old, and you're going to send him into Beaumont?
Not a good place. A lot of gangs there too.
Monique, what state is he sentenced out of?
Oh, he says 7 years. He had a gun charge. Yeah, I don't know what. Did she say Texas? I thought.
I'm not sure. Do you know if he? Yeah, Monique, I want you to get a hold of me. I'm going to take a look at your son's case, see what we can look at, because 7 years, tentatively, if we don't got any violence and stuff like that, depending on what his case says, I mean, we could maybe pull him at 3.5, but he's going to get good time anyway, so that's going to take him down. What do you get? A year off for every 6?
You basically get 2 months off for every year for your good time. 54 days, really.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to be down. I mean, he might only have to do a couple years, and we could pull him.
Yeah.
On to home confinement.
Yeah.
If I could get him redesignated. Yeah, if I could get him redesignated, I don't want to see a 19-year-old go into Beaumont.
Oh, so you can get people redesignated. How do you do that?
Well, it's kind of tough. I can be nice to Grand Prairie and ask.
And they're nice back and grant the request?
Sometimes.
Really?
Not always.
Wow.
But sometimes
Hi, Grand Prairie. How are you guys today? I know you work so hard.
Sometimes I
hate to bother you.
Managers at Federal Holdings and see what we can, resend them or something. But I mean, I don't make any promises. I can try.
Okay.
All they can tell me is no. But if you don't ask, you don't know.
So, you can get redesignated because maybe you want to be close to your family. I've heard of a climate environment. You have maybe you're breathing or something.
Oxygen, I have some guys on CPAP machines, sleep apnea machines.
Sure.
I've got one guy right now that they want him to self-surrender. I think in September, but we're working on seeing if we can just keep him out on and flip him to home confinement, because he's on 2 different machines. He's got serious medical issues,
and they don't want to pay for that anyway. So
it's going to cost them a lot with him being in there. Okay. Plus, they have to redo his tanks like every other day, and they have to change so many different things. His medical is going to cost them a fortune.
Yeah, sure.
I pulled his wife out last year.
Oh, okay.
And
if you're in a medium,
kind of a blessing when I pulled his wife out, because he happened to be very, very good friends with an old school music person, so it kind of got me another link to that too.
All right.
I've met a lot of music people in there and got a lot of contacts, so I've kind of got different things from doing prison advocacy too. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I was in a rock band in my prison, and we used to do shows outside on the yard on 4th of July and stuff. And I do little talent shows. I'd get 8 or 9 acts together to everybody. I was, I don't know, you call me a promoter, but one time I got 8 or 9 different bands together, and we did a big show all day long, and had a lot of fun. But yeah, there's some very talented people in prison.
Well, there's a lot of people in there that, I mean, like big people in there. I mean, look, they just put R. Kelly in there.
That's true.
I mean, the guy that actually owned a record label that everybody else thought somebody else owned it. Um, he was doing a life sentence. He actually just got out. They figured out a way to file some things to get him out. But a lot of people didn't even know he owned the record label. He was doing life.
Sure. Wow. Wow.
And stuff. And I mean, there's people in there, some people that, are doing life sentences on non-violent offenses. I have a guy that got sentenced when he was really, really young, and he got life on a non-violent offense.
It can happen. No, it can happen. Yeah, sure.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
There's a guy sitting in California in state prison who got his 3rd strike because he stole some food because he was hungry. It's like you couldn't have took him and hooked him up with some food stamps, put him in a shelter, whatever, to help him. You're going to put him in prison, cost the state payers millions of dollars because you gave him a life sentence when you could have just helped him.
Now, I know a guy that he had 2 strikes and he was getting food stamps in 2 different counties, and they went after him and they got him on that, and now he's doing life. Yeah.
It's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, thank you, anti-aging trainer. Yeah, he was talking about the reason it doesn't show up on the inmate locator where they're at is because of security reasons. Monique says, "Oh, thank you so much. You're welcome, Monique." Katrina says, "Monique, you won't know ahead of time when they will take him. Answer all calls from any number. Have pen and paper ready and a credit card ready. He may be in several places before destination." Yeah, not every. Right now, it's free to. You get free phone calls if you're a federal inmate, but not at these. Not at these.
Oklahoma, he has to pay for his calls, but Monique, you can set up the gettingout.com app, and you can do video visits with him from Oklahoma right now.
Really, that video visits in Oklahoma? I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of my guys that just hit there gets video visits with his wife here, and he can do video visits. He can do phone calls, but he does have to pay for them. Once they get to a BOP facility, all the numbers are coming from a 202 area code. So if you get a 202 area code, it's coming from the federal prisons. All the calls are free, but the other thing these people need to remember is when you're in the BOP, federal prisons, you only get 5 hours of call time.
It's 500 hours a month.
500 minutes.
500 minutes a month. Yeah.
So it comes down to about 5 hours a month.
Okay.
And then it turns over in the beginning of the month again. But some of these guys, I mean, you could blow through 500 minutes real quick.
Sure.
My son can blow through 500 minutes probably, and I don't even know. He calls me 4, 5, 6 times a day.
I'm pulling up the number right now, 202-499-3650, because I get this from all my guys. 202-499-3650, and that's what that calls you. Because I get guys call me all over the country. The same number shows up. So
yeah, I get them from everywhere.
Yeah, just so you guys know. So it's a 499 prefix, so be aware of that. Let's catch up on some of these comments. Anti-aging trainer, yeah, he will be okay. Thank you. Monique says, Katrina Stubbs, thanks. I will do that. Anti-aging trainer, you can affect his location based on programming needs. Yes, that's another thing. Say you want to do a culinary school, but they only have it, things like that.
Yeah, my son had me pulling up prisons the other day to see what programs they had to see where he wants to go.
And he spent a few years in the feds, he said himself. Katrina won't show up on website until 24 hours later. And he says, yes, you can. Not true. I'm not sure. Now I'm lost. Yes, you can. Not true. That's probably going back. Monique says he's at a medium. Okay. At 19
Okay.
in a medium. That's tough.
Woo!
They're gonna. Monique.
What's
I'm
his
sorry, but
deal?
a youngster like that in a medium. Oh man.
I know.
Ah,
I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it.
yeah.
I'm really
Ah.
feeling it right now
And
because
he's almost gonna have to join a gang to survive at that age. And oh man, I didn't even want to say that. I'm
I
sorry.
know it's like
Ah.
depending on what car he hits.
Yeah. Wow.
Beaumont.
But
Oh
Monique,
man.
you need to know the reality. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat it, Monique. But
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no sugarcoating it. I mean,
Well, we can pray for him.
I'm feeling you, Monique. I'm feeling for you, Monique, right now. Really, really, really. But I want you to call me, Monique. Well, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, Monique. He's not safe, and I hate to say that. I mean, not that he's gonna die, but they're gonna make. Talk to Shawn. Call her.
Oh, I feel bad for this baby.
Yeah, I don't really want to tell her what he's. Oh, I don't want to tell her, but it's. Help me out, guys.
I am so grateful my son is not there. Point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you just have to get the marshal's attention. He says Beaumont has a camp. Well, now we know he's not at the camp though.
No, he's going inside.
Medium and a USP. Yeah, he's at the USP. I mean, he'd almost be better off if he could just do all his time in the shoe. But even there, they make you go to the yard sometimes. Just.
And depending what's on his case, I mean, he's gonna have to have his sentence and judgment. You got to have your walking papers to get on the yard.
Yeah, got to show your paperwork at a medium. At a low security or a camp, they don't
really care.
You get in trouble if you have somebody's paperwork, anyways. They'll ship you out for asking for the paperwork. But at a medium and a penitentiary, that's the Hollywood prisons that we see in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sea Dog says you can take PIS on the plane ride, but you can.
I didn't know that. Everybody's been telling me you cannot go to the bathroom on the plane.
Well, you're shackled next to a guy next to you. What did they unshackle you and let him sit there? I've heard you can't. I mean,
one of my guys
they'll actually let you go number.
He said
they'll
no.
let you go number 2 once in a while. I've heard of that for the women, not for the men.
Well, I had a couple women tell me they put on a couple pads just in case.
Yeah. She's saying Kansas City, Missouri. Now, why is Kansas in the question?
That's where he was sentenced out of.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, give me a call later, Monique.
And anti-aging says you can definitely piss on Conair. Okay.
Well, that's good to know.
They may have got sued over that or something lately. I don't know. I don't know if that's a new thing.
I mean, if you got to hold it so long, I mean, it can affect your kidneys and everything else.
Yeah, but we know they don't care about that.
Well, we know.
They told us just drink some water and walk the track when I go see the doctor. Got
a bladder infection? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a bottle of water. See you later.
Right. Sea Dog is saying they will feed you as well. Oh yeah, it's a bologna sandwich with carrot sticks and celery and and a little juice pack. They'll feed you. Now he's saying a medium and a USP. Yeah. What is his crime? She might not want to talk about what his crime is, and that's on you. That's up to you, Monique. One thing I'll tell you about federal prison is
he needed it. She said he needed a GED and definitely drug rehab. So I'm wondering, once he gets his GED, they might reclass him down.
Yeah, they'll take 2 points. They'll take 2 points off that for him. And that may be enough to get him in a low security. Monique, do you know what his custody level points are? So to go to a medium, you got to have 16 to 20 points is usually the medium range. So you need 15 or less, I think, to go to a low, 11 or less to go to a camp. If he's at like 17 points or 18 points, they could ship, as soon as he gets that GED, they could transport him to a low security.
Yeah, they can.
I
move
don't
him.
know if you know that answer. He may not even know what his points are.
I mean, once he hits Oklahoma, I can call down to the one of the case managers and see what we're looking at.
Yeah, and he could take the GD in Oklahoma. Well, he might not be there long enough. I'm trying to figure out how we can get him over to a low security.
Well, they're holding him for a little bit now because the prisons are so full.
So maybe there's a possibility.
Even if he started it there and started working on it and stuff, once he hits the prison, he could finish it, and then that'll drop him down.
They will give you credit because check it. I didn't have a GD.
In a BOP, so it'll transfer.
Yeah, I didn't have a GD. I finished my high school in Ireland, believe it or not, and they didn't accept that. So you need 11 points or less. But I had 13. I had 15 points. I was supposed to go to low, but they took 3 off for self-surrender, which brought me down to 12. But since I was going to be enrolled in the GED, they sent me to a camp. I barely got in the camp. So, and I didn't like I said, I didn't have the G. So they may do that for him because it's required to get your GED in there. So they're going to make him get it.
He might be able to, depending on his points, he might be able to slide into a camp.
Yeah, or at least a low security where he'll be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. So let's not give up hope, guys. Yeah, he needs to program, exactly. Depends on his charge. I know, and I don't think we want to talk about his charge. I was going to say where I was at prison, everybody asked how much time, how long you here for, but nobody really cares what your charge are, and they don't really want to ask. If you decide to tell somebody later that you get to know, that's fine. But the first question is, how much time are you here? Because if you're only there for 8 months, nobody even wants to get to know you. And they're jealous, they hate you. You get what, 8 months, bye. But if you're doing 8 years, then maybe I'll take the time to get to know you. But where I was at, we didn't care about the charges. I mean, once in a while, what's that guy in here for anyways? That comes up, but nobody really, that's at the camp. Now, in a medium, they want to know what your charge is because they're worried if you're a child molester or a snitch. And that's the 2 big things. So if he has,
if those aren't on your paperwork, you're good to go.
Yeah, your history. I'm sorry.
Yeah, anti-aging. He said that Pahrumph's a little bit better than Oklahoma, which is Pahrumph's a lot better than Oklahoma.
It's a lot better. I know a couple guys that went through there. It's a lot better.
Oklahoma is filthy. I mean, you can put the rats on a leash.
Yeah, Trump, you get to go outside. I mean, Pahrump, you get to go outside. Yeah. Oklahoma, you're in a building and you'll never see the sunlight. And you're in there with serial killers and terrorists and child molesters. They just throw you all together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma's not pretty.
He says Beaumont is not bad. I've never heard that, but maybe the camp's not bad.
Yeah, Beaumont just had that big riot, and they had officers that were hurt. People died, and they shut them down. They locked them down for almost 6 months.
Right. Sea Dog hatership. I don't know what that means. Is that a hater, like hater? I'm not sure. Hardship case, maybe to move somewhere. If he's a hardship case, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Monique says he will be okay. Yeah, I don't mean to scare you, Monique, but we're worried. I hope you're right. I mean, he's made it this far, but I don't know.
I mean, if he can scrap,
And maybe he's a tough kid. You know what I mean?
That's the one thing my son got going for him. My son could throw down. They wanted to induct him into the MMA at one time, and so I mean, he's not scared. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, he will stand up.
Have we heard about the epic escape from USP Atwater in 2000? I think I actually did hear about that one. I think I heard about. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was all about. People escape a lot. From not a lot, but there are escapes from prison, especially
I
in the
just
camp.
I just heard about a guy had 30 days left and he escaped.
I got a story to tell you.
I
So my
said he must be in be I don't know, like I mean he's gotta be used to just living in there if you're gonna escape in just 30 days? 30
let me
days
tell
is
you let
standing
me
on your
tell you
head.
this. I got a story. My second night in prison at the camp. We don't have a fence, right? There's a guy in there. I met him the night before in the TV room. He's got a gambling debt. He owes $5,000. He's getting released at 6 in the morning the next day. At 2 in the morning that previous night, we get a lockdown, the lights, everything. They find a guy out in the field with a duffel bag, full of alcohol, cigarettes, and, all that kind of stuff. It was that guy that was getting released at 6 in the morning. His wife drops off the bag. His intention was to give the bag to the Pisces to pay off his debt so he could go, off to the halfway house and be free and all that. And he's getting released at 6 in the morning. They catch him. They catch his wife. He gets 2 years. He gets an extra 2 years. They send him to a medium, and his wife gets a year. He's getting released, 6 a.m. He can't wait. I mean, he couldn't just wire $5,000 to their account. I mean, they're letting him live long enough to get released. They're not going to kill him. How stupid can you get? I don't know.
Sorry guys, I have my child in my background.
No problem. I don't know if you heard that.
My
Shawn,
son was just calling to talk to his daughter. I have his daughter.
Okay.
He calls about
Your
10
son,
times
your son that's in prison, or a different son?
My son that's in federal holding in Wyoming.
Do you want to take that call? That's very important.
Oh no, honey, you're good. He calls 10 times a day.
Okay.
He calls, but I have his daughter. I have my granddaughter, who is 9 years old. So he calls to talk to her.
Katrina says usually you can't move for 18 months. Redesignation before that is extremely rare. Yeah, that's right, Katrina. 18 months.
Yeah, that's true. But if we can catch it at Oklahoma at holding before he's designated, we sometimes can change it. They'll take a look at different things and stuff. It doesn't always happen, but once in a while it has been known to be done. Because once they're at the Oklahoma or Pahrump, those are the designation centers and stuff where they designate them out to where they're going to send them.
Right. Jerry just sent me a text. He wants your number. He got kicked off, so I'm sending him that right now. That was my phone, so he didn't get that. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on the comments. Yeah, his points are high for 19. Well, at age 19, he automatically gets 8 points. So, and then no GED, so that's 10 points. With his criminal history, that could be anywhere up to another 8 points.
I don't know what his criminal history and stuff is.
Yeah. And I doesn't sound like he got the self-surrender, so he didn't get that. And best way to bring down needs to go. Son is taking me out. Oh, bye, Katrina. Thank you very much. Your son is taking you out on the town tonight. Hey, that's great because I know he just got out a few weeks ago. You guys go have some fun. Enjoy the freedom. Yeah. He finally gets to take his mother out. Wow. Aging is talking about the challenge program. I don't know that one. Do you know that one?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Okay.
What's the challenge program?
Yeah, what is the challenge program? Most mediums and USPs have video calls. I've heard the women's prisons are doing the Core Links has a video call system now, but I only heard that was for women. But
none of the men in prison have video calls anymore. The women still do.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
yeah, the men were doing some inappropriate things, so they pulled them.
Yeah, you figure.
It only takes one. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. That's why they're taking all the weights away from the prisons.
Phone calls are free from the prisons right now, but only from the prisons, not from
And I'm
Oklahoma
not
as
sure
well.
how that long that's going to last. Do you think they're going to have that
Yeah,
next year?
but you can also hook up through once they start charging again. You
Google
can hook up
Voice.
through it's called phonedonkey.com,
I've heard
and
of that one
I
too.
paid $11 a month for 300 minutes,
Okay.
and they give you a phone number that they call that calls direct into your number. So then it only costs them less than $1 for a phone call.
Okay. There's a service called Grasshopper too. I think it's $20 a year. Same thing. Google Voice.
Yeah,
Although I've heard they know about Google Voice now, so it's
Google
not
Voice
always
is really
working.
hard to do nowadays now,
Yeah.
but Phone
But
Donkey is really really good. I always went through that one when I
okay,
had.
that Phone Donkey guys and Grasshopper. I think those two. But right now it's free, so we don't need to worry
Thank God.
today.
Come on, thank God. It's gonna save
Yeah.
me when
Oh, that's a big deal. And before they only got 300 hours, even if they paid for it. 500
500
hours.
minutes. Yeah, 500 minutes is it
I mean,
gives them
500
another
minutes. Yeah.
couple hours, but it's some of these like my son personally likes to call, and I've told him you're gonna have to learn to email because I mean they can email for like nothing per
It's
packet.
10
And
cents a minute to email. But here's
it's
the thing, it's
cheap.
10 cents a minute to even read it, but you can print out for 15 cents a page. And so if somebody sends you a long email, it's cheaper to spend 30 cents for the 2 pages and then read it, and then you get to hold it and take your time reading it. Because
Yeah,
when you're on the clock and you're trying to read something, and all that, so but they let you print it out 15 cents a page, but it's 10 cents a minute. And sometimes if you're a slow typer, that 10 cents a minute adds up.
and they go by characters too because you can buy so many characters. So what I do instead of writing out like YOU, if I want to say you, I just put the letter U and I shorten everything down because it takes up
Okay.
less characters. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. That's yeah, okay.
Kind of like when you're texting, you're gonna, you can use shorter characters and stuff. So I just do that with my guys because it doesn't use up as many characters on them. And
Anti-aging trainer says no, he will not need to join the gang. So if he was 54 years old, I would say that's true. But at 19, you know, um,
yeah,
what do you, and I'd like to agree with you, but not at 19. I mean, it's possible he doesn't have to join a car, but 19, that age is it's just not a good age to go to prison.
no.
Uh,
The other thing too, it is so funny. So my friend's mom, she's older, she's 70 something, and he kept sending her messages on core links. And in the subject, it said he would always put hi. And I asked her, I said, did you get an email? And she said, yeah, he keeps saying the same thing. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, he keeps saying hi. And I'm like, no, you need to click on it. So if you get an email or multiple emails and in the subject it says the same thing, you still need to click on it, open it up, because then you can read what he's actually writing. I had to open it for her and then he wrote her a big old thing.
so she was just
Uh,
getting the subject,
yeah, she was
but
just
not
reading
not the
the
not
subject.
the
It was so cute because she's like, he just keeps telling me hi. And I'm like, no, he's not just telling you hi. I said, you have to open them up. And then once I opened it up, she was like, well, that is just dumb. And I said, I know. She's 73 and she just wasn't
yeah.
getting it. You know what I'm saying? But a
So
lot
guys,
of
yeah,
people don't understand
I
it.
have Core Links on my phone. It's $6 a year. It's the best $6, and so
You're
when I
paying
get a
for
message,
Corley? Why are you paying for Corley?
$6 a year for the app. I don't have to. It's on my Gmail for free. But
Oh, I'm like, I don't pay for Corley.
no, but Corlinks, I have the app on my phone, so when I get a message, I get bleep bleep bleep. I just tap it, and there's their thing, and then I tap it and send the message back.
Oh,
It's more of a convenience. It's free, and you can get it on your Gmail. But $6 a year, and if it's your son or a relative or your wife or your husband,
the
six
other
bucks a
thing
year.
about Core Links too is if you do not know how to set it up and you get a request from your son, whoever, your friend, whatever, and you do not know how to do it, please, people, give me a call, get a hold of Shawn, whatever, because if you do it wrong, you will block your loved ones.
Yeah, you get an invitation first, and if you don't accept that invitation the
So
correct
you gotta
way,
type in if you don't accept it the right way and type in the code and click the little boxes, you ain't getting it.
yeah, they don't get a second chance to send you a confirmation
No.
code number or anything like
No,
that.
I have people that call me and like I'll go online and I'll set it up for them and stuff so they're good to go because I don't want them to be blocked from their family. Anti-aging says his people will take care of him.
Yeah, well,
but that's not only if he's got somebody in there. Not
yeah,
if
does
he
he have
know
people?
Anybody?
Yeah, because he needs to be vetted and accepted by. They're going to want to see his paperwork. Where are you from? Who do you know? They're going to a lot of, it's an interrogation. It's an interview to. If you don't have people, if he's already got people in there, good. He'll be. Then you're right. I don't know.
If he knows, if he knows somebody that they don't like, I mean, then you're looking at that too.
Right. You mentioned the wrong name.
You ain't getting top ramen later.
G Money, G Money. You know what I mean? That's like,
yeah. Yes, you do need good paperwork.
Yeah.
Sea Dog, you get free calls from the federal prisons. They're giving them free calls right now.
Not state. State's still doing.
Yeah, state they still got to pay for it, and Oklahoma and Pahrump they still have to pay for phone calls. I've got guys that are being shipped out right now from over here, and they're still paying for calls from Pahrump in Oklahoma.
Anti-aging has been on Con Air 4 times.
You're a bad child.
Wow, yeah. 4 times. That's bragging rights, but
right? I am grateful to say I've never been on Con Air.
Oh, GD, and he'll definitely get drug rehab like RDAP because that takes a year off your sentence. As long as you got, well, here's the deal with RDAP. Up to a year off. So 37 months or more, a year off. 30 to 36 months is 9 months off. 24 months to 30 is 6 months off. And you're guaranteed 6 months halfway house time too. So you can get 18, you can go home 18 months early. And then if you get those extra First Step Back credits and your good time, some guys are getting out of there 3 years early and stuff.
What is the challenge program? He keeps
what is that?
About the challenge program, but I'm not sure what that is.
Low ask for paperwork. Katrina, some lows ask for paperwork. Some this is what not all of them. Not all of them, Katrina. This is what RDAP Dan tells me and a couple of other guys in lows. They can get in trouble for asking for paperwork. But I mean, there are some cars in lows that will ask for it. But I think it's a little different than ask. They demand it at a medium in a penitentiary.
Yeah.
There's a difference between demanding and asking.
Katrina's son flew over 20 times. Whoa, they were moving him around.
Woo!
That's a lot.
Well, now we know that you can pee on the Con Air.
Okay, Monique. Sounds good.
I'm just trying to catch up here.
Anti-aging, can you tell us what the challenge program is?
Yeah. Cuffed and black boxed on a plane, can't wipe butt. Yeah, I've heard of that too. Yeah. I have flown Con Air a few times, Oklahoma City over. TJ's in the house. Hey, TJ. TJ knows about airplanes, huh, TJ? Grady is not too bad. Commissary every day? Oklahoma City? Probably because people are in and out of there.
You get commissary every day in Pahrump.
Pahrump, okay. Grady is a bit crowded, but daily commissary. I don't know Grady. What is Grady?
Grady is in Pahrump.
Oh, okay.
Grady County. It's Grady County.
Oh, Grady County. Okay.
Yes,
food is horrible.
Food is horrible.
Wow.
What my guys tell me. Oklahoma food ain't good either.
Yes, I agree. All USPs are bad. I've never heard of a good USP. Lowe's care about paperwork too. She's saying again. They check paperwork, especially the chow hall. See, now I haven't really heard that, but I'm thinking it depends where you're
I'll
at.
have to check with some of my guys because I've got a lot of campers.
Challenge is the RDAP version. I heard the USPs have something similar to RDAP, but now they're bringing RDAP to the USP at Florence. So I guess things are all about to change. You can order restaurant food at Grady on weekends. You know, I've heard state prisons that do that.
Wow.
Have you heard about that? Once a week, you could come in and order, Papa John's pizza, or every week it's a different restaurant. I don't know how it's. I've heard state prisons doing that.
Oh, I hate to hear that, Katrina, because man, my son's gonna be like, "Send me money, mom. Send me money."
Yeah, actually, the mediums do have RDAP, and most inmates do not qualify for it. I can't believe Florence USP is getting RDAP. I can't see who would qualify. I guess there's some white collar guys that are doing 20 years there. Maybe they'll get it. No time
Oh,
off. Do challenge not for time off, but to decrease points. Okay, then that can get you into a low, and then you could do
hello,
RDAP
yeah.
maybe.
Sea Dog, they get free calls from the federal prisons now.
Yeah. God, I got a lot of comments. I'm just trying to catch up here, and then we'll talk. I think I'm almost done. Yeah, like RDAP. The mediums do have RDAP, though. Not a lot of mediums, but they do have RDAP. Most people in the medium don't want to take RDAP. They get labeled a snitch if they do.
Yeah, they're trying to shoot a lot of people into it now that it's opening back up because it shut down when COVID first hit.
Yeah.
And
All right, I'm
they,
all
they
caught
couldn't
up.
take
I'm
those
all caught up.
classes.
Yeah. How we doing on time? We've been talking for 2 hours, Shawn. How you doing on time? Do you got to get going, or?
No, I'm good, hon.
Well, I'm good for a little bit longer. And then people may coming in and out of the room, but I know this video. By the end of the week, I have 300-400 views on a video, but this one, Shawn, this is chock full of information. So, you'll be getting calls. I know that. Shawn, I know you don't really do this for money, but you do accept donations, right, from people?
Yes.
So, guys, do you hear that? And she's doing such hard work, and she really cares, guys. So, help Lady Lion out if you
A
can.
lot of these cases take a lot of hours.
Yeah.
A lot of hours. I spent probably 7 hours one time just reading through a case file because I go through every one of my people's files before I even look at taking a case because I want to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to keep them from being eligible for home confinement or pre-release or anything because there is different things that they use against them.
Right.
That's like when they class their 922Gs as violent. That kicks them out automatically. Boom. But I can read through their cases all the way from day one when they were arrested. The only thing I can't really read is like their PSRs are sealed, which is like a PSI. They seal those up. You can't read them and stuff. But other than that, I can pretty much read a whole case file, which makes it a lot helpful when I'm trying to deal with, cases and stuff. Because
So I know
I've had case managers, they're like, oh, well, he had this, and this. And I'm like, no. Like, I just had a guy over one of my prisons call me because the judge gave him 10 months credit on his jail time. Well, they didn't have it at the prison. So I downloaded it and emailed it over to his caseworker so that they had that judgment to take that time off of him. Because they were just going to let him sit, and now he gets to come out next month.
Oh,
otherwise he would have sat until I think January, February.
Wow.
And stuff. And we have home confinement and stuff, and we do take guys and girls and stuff. I mean, for sober living from out of state. You don't have to be from this state to get into one of our sober living houses.
We got comments coming in. Diesel therapy causes lots of flying on Con Air. Trust me on that. Anti-agent saying ALEF is also a great free advocacy group. But I would go with Shawn here in the room first, guys. But have you heard of them? Aleph?
No, I've never heard of them.
All right. Well, headed by Jared Kushner. That's isn't that the son-in-law of Trump? Isn't it? Jared,
know.
right?
I don't know.
I think it is.
When I started prison advocacy, I started dealing with CURE, CURE International, and they're nationwide. They're huge.
Hey, you were telling me that Nancy Pelosi's son-in-law is the guy with the animal hat on the January 16th. Was that what you said?
Yep.
So I told some of my friends that they don't believe that, but I mean, I want to believe it, but
well, this is the thing. One of my business people, I don't want to mention any names. Their family person is a senator, so I kind of get
yeah.
some insides. I also have a guy up in DC. I do some work with and stuff, and he's an advocate, and so he's my go-to guy in like when new laws are coming out and changes are being made in the BOP and stuff like that. He will usually shoot me a message and let me know what's coming or what they're working on, maybe getting rid of or different things and stuff like that also.
Okay. Well, at my camp, there's no child molesters or pedophiles or chomos or chesters allowed in camps, but they do allow gay people. And there was a group of gay guys, and they were all Republican. They took over the Fox News channel at the TV room, and they were gays for Trumps. That was their organization. I never heard of that, and I didn't know there was that many of them. But they were there for white collar crimes. So your white collar type of gay guys, from what I gather from the time I spent, are all Trump fans, and that was news to me.
Yeah, some of those guys in there, like, I don't know. I've seen some of those guys, and you can't tell if they're guys.
We had a couple trannies at the camp. One guy used to dress up like Tina Turner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I did that show, I told you I had like 8 or 9 acts. We kind of did an open mic. So I forget what his name was. Well, I'm going to call him Tina. He comes up and he had a karaoke tape of him singing Michael Jackson, The Kid Is Not My Kid or something. Or what? Some Michael Jackson song. He goes, can you play this? And he had a wig on, all dressed in black.
Oh, my.
He did a whole Tina Turner thing, and the karaoke was him singing it. And it was just hilarious. I let him do it. And, I talked to him on the side a couple of times. He was in RDAB with me. That's his lifestyle. But he did not like child molesters. So I'll tell you guys, I'm straight. I'm a straight white male. But gay guys hate child molesters as much as I do. So there is a difference. And you're going to see them if you go to prison. They are not child molesters. There's a big difference. And that's all I want to say.
I've seen that post on that one guy in California, and like he's killed 2 child molesters now, and he wrote the warden a letter, and he told the warden, if you put me in with them, I will kill them. And he has killed 2 of them, and they were forewarned and did it anyways. It was like they put him in there on purpose, and they do that stuff. It's crazy. Like, it's like they're setting people up, and but that's what they do, and a lot of these people that are newly going in, that have never been in there before, need to realize too, nobody in there is your friend. You might actually make a friend in there, but You don't trust nobody. Nobody's your friend.
Yeah. I will not help anybody with a sex crime. I had one guy call me
No,
up.
I don't do any. I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to be one of those people or whatever, but I won't represent sex offenders. I do not represent rapists. I mean, I do have my morals
Yeah.
and stuff. I'm not gonna do it.
I had one guy call me up and he says, he's asking, he's scared, he's going to prison, but then he tells me his charges. He said, well, I had some pictures on my computer right there. I said, I told him, and then he went to say, what I have a whatever the charge was, and I said, listen, if you're looking at pictures, you're a piece of fucking shit just for looking at those pictures. I told the guy off, and I don't want to get on a tangent here, but I told him, lose my number, don't watch my channel. If I see you in the chat room, I'm blocking you. And I said, don't ever call me again. I went off the hook on the guy, and I'm sorry. I believe in second chances for everybody, but not for them. I draw the line.
Well, it's been a proven fact that sex offenders are non-rehabilitatable. And when I was in college, and I took a psychology class, and I tried really, really hard just to like wrap my mind around it, and I just cannot wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, well, I've said this on my channel. When I was 5 years old, I got molested in kindergarten by some
Hi,
teachers'
Marlene.
aides. So I went through it, and so that's why I have no sympathy, empathy, nothing. I could, I'll never forgive a child molester. I just draw the line. God might, I won't.
Yeah, and that's one thing. That and murder, there's no statute of limitations on it, anyways.
Right.
But it's just no.
Yeah. Oh, we got two new people in the room. They're not new to me, but Marlene is here. Thank you,
I'm
Marlene.
Vegas.
And Vegas prison stories. Now here's another guy who's turned his life around. I think he's been out 12 years. He's got a
Nice.
great channel. He's given positive messages. Good dudes. And Marlene has been on all our channels, and she's a big supporter of us. And Marlene, I believe your son is in prison, or your husband. I should know this by now, but she's waiting for her loved one to get released. And Marlene, how long till he gets out? And it was your son, right, Marlene, or your husband? I can't remember.
Is he in federal, Shawn?
I think it's state, but I'm not sure. Marlene, could you tell us? And maybe Shawn here can help him. She because early release is kind of your specialty, right?
Yeah. I like to fight with the BOP.
Are you ever worried about them?
You know how people say that they always have to have an outlet for their frustrations, and
Yeah.
mine's the BOP.
Are you ever worried about them retaliating against you? And in their little trickery ways that they have, putting a false charge on you.
I wish they would.
Good.
Like my son, one time, I was with my son, and I was dropping him off at one of his friends' house, and we had a federal agent that drove by us, turned around, parked 2 blocks down the street, and was facing us, right? And my son said, "Mom, they're gonna pull you over." I said, "I hope they do." Because they ain't got no reason. It's harassment. So I drove by him, and I almost came to a stop by him, and I just waved, and he left.
But he knew, and he knew who you were.
Oh, they all know me.
They all know you.
This whole entire town, I know probably everybody in it.
And you're in Billings, Montana, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you watch? I watch Yosemite. Have you seen that show?
Yellowstone?
I mean, did I say Yosemite? Yellowstone. I meant to say Yellowstone. Yeah. Is there any realism to lifestyle up there with that show?
A little bit, maybe. Like, we're in the country. I'm actually 11 miles out of Billings in a little town. But like, I go to Billings all the time. But it's pretty quiet here. We have a little crime here and there, but it's not bad. And cost of living is pretty cheap here. But it's quiet. Like I can sit on my back porch, and I mean I have houses all around me, and listen to the crickets at night. But it's nice. It's quiet.
I've been thinking about moving to a state like Montana or Kansas or Nebraska. I got out of San Francisco. I'm in Albuquerque, but this is a stepping stone. My next move is like Montana, Wyoming, somewhere rural. I can just live the American dream. I don't know. Yeah, Montana's on my top 3 lists. So
It's
you
I
never
mean
know.
it's it's calm over here, and we don't have. I mean we've got, I don't know, maybe like two, three buildings that are actually tall, but it's more country. We don't really have the big city. You know what I'm saying? Like I was raised in Washington, like Seattle and stuff like that. So I was raised in a big city, but I don't like it. I like the more
I don't like
calm.
it
And,
either.
I mean, the older I get, I'm gonna be 60 in 2 years, and the older I get,
Oh, you're my age. You're my age.
it's
Same
hard,
age.
you know. But I just I'm not. I looked one time a couple years ago. Well, yeah, it's been about 2 years. It was right before the pandemic, so almost 3 years. I was on tour and we did Portland, Seattle, Idaho, and stuff like that. And I had thought about, even moving back home to Washington because I love Washington. I love the ocean. But like their houses, I mean, if they even have a sliver of land, they'll put a house in there. You can literally reach in your neighbor's window, you know?
Right.
And the cost of living is just
I've heard Seattle's
insane,
off the hook now. Yeah.
insane. And I can't do it. But I think about other things and stuff too, that like there's a mountain in China right now. And if that mountain blows, so from Portland to Baker City, there's two mountain passes.
Oh, remember
Okay.
Mount St. Helen?
Oh
I
yeah, I was
mean,
there.
yeah,
I was there. I was like a teenager. But
yeah.
from Portland to Baker City, what over there, there's two mountain passes. Okay. So if that mountain in China blows, the earthquake and tsunami behind it is gonna make Baker City the new coastal line. It's gonna take out the
Wow.
whole entire coast.
Yeah.
And so like I look at those things, you know what I'm saying? Like I have probably 5 mountain passes that I have to go over to even get to Seattle. And I'm surrounded by mountains. And so I think like I look at safety, what it's going to be like in 20, 30 years. You know, I mean, like I've got
Sure.
5 grandkids. My daughter lives right behind me. I moved her in behind me 2 years ago when the pandemic hit because I wanted her close in case something happened. We had to pack up the campers and go to the mountains or something. But I look at proximities and what's going to happen, and I mean different stuff, because it's just things you have to look at. A lot of people don't look outside that box. They want to listen to the media. I don't listen to the media. I look at things. And it's just like I can see that I think we're getting ready to go back into a recession or like a depression they had back in the day.
Yeah, something's coming.
It's coming, and stuff. And like I can feel things sometimes, like a couple years before COVID hit, I knew something was coming, but I didn't know what it was. I could feel it. And then it hit. And now like I'm starting to get that feeling again, and stuff. But like I've been getting prepared for it. I've been stocking and stuff. I've got 5 gallon buckets with dried goods and stuff like that. And it's better to be prepared than not be prepared, and stuff. My daughter asks me all the time, she's like, Mom, why are you doing this? And I said, well, if nothing happens, nothing happens. We got dried goods. If something happens, we're okay. But it's better to be prepared than not be prepared.
Yep. For sure. For sure. I
Marlene
think
says, I'm actually being extorted again for $700. The man called before I got on here, wouldn't tell me why, but I'm not stupid. I actually told him, do what you have to do. I'm not sending any money. What was he asking for money for?
yeah. Do you have his phone number, Marlene? And we can like all the viewers and stuff, we can blow him up.
I mean,
Give us his phone number, Marlene. We'll try to
that's
help.
crazy.
Yeah. So Marlene also said her son, I think 4 months to go. He's at Westville Prison in Indiana.
Is that a state prison? I think so though. Did
Yeah, that's not a federal. I've
no?
never heard of that. If it's a federal, I've never heard of it.
Did he come up in front of the parole board already, Marlene? He won't say he got on my son's call.
Oh,
So he's threatening your son and he wants you to send him money? I don't
yeah.
understand.
How can we help? How can we help, Marlene?
I mean, those are recorded calls. That would be that would be a dumb move.
You got an email, phone number, website, something we can got a lot of viewers on my channel.
Well, she's saying that he got on her son's call, so I'm assuming he's inside with her son. And I mean,
from prison.
Is he threatening your son or what? Because those are recorded calls.
Oh yeah, so this is from the prison he's extorting you.
That's a dumb move.
That's a real dumb move. Here I'm thinking he's some spammer, like we have your Amazon account.
That's what I was thinking for a second until she said he got on her son's call. I mean, that's recorded. Those are all recorded calls.
Yeah. So what's he saying? If you don't pay me $700, we're gonna beat the hell out of your son. We're gonna something like that. That's
that's crazy.
Yeah. How can we help, Marlene? How can we help?
I mean, because we could call the prison or whatever, but I mean,
sure. Rick from Vegas Prison Story says, I hate to say, but your son could be pressing you for money. That's a scam. That's common. There is that. Marlene, what do you think? Would your son do that? What do you? I mean, that
happen. I will say it does happen.
It does happen, Marlene. I mean, I don't know your son. I know you're a great woman. Your son, I don't know. He's in prison, so and you get hooked up with. That could be a real thing, Marlene. And I don't want to sugarcoat things. You never know, Marlene.
He got into a gambling debt and don't want to tell his mom.
Yeah. Drug debt, whatever, whatever it is. Yeah.
That does happen in there. And then they're like, I can't tell my mom. So.
I know. And there's guys who never done drugs in their life until they got to prison. And, and the last thing they're going to do is tell their family that, they're doing heroin or Sabachin or whatever the thing is. It just happens to some guys in prison, Marlene, and hopefully it's not happening to your son. But this is a real thing that Vegas is bringing up.
Peer pressure is a big thing inside prison.
Yeah,
especially depending on their age. He comes out in October. I tried to call prison, but they won't do anything. He's smart. He wouldn't tell me anything. He's a smart one. I don't know. If you can't get any results at the prison, you can go above the prison to the DOC, Department of Corrections, and talk with them.
Yeah, but we also don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah, we don't want to get him hurt.
For you snitching, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because his life could be in danger just by you calling the prison. You gotta be careful. You gotta do this. You gotta plan it. You gotta do this carefully. I don't have the right answer. Maybe Vegas Prison Stories knows how to handle this one, or you, Shawn. This is out of my league. You guys handle.
I mean, not without knowing exactly what's going on inside and the situation he's in. It's kind of hard because you don't want to, get him killed or something in there. You know what I'm saying? But he was a heroin addict, so I don't know. But I'm not sure if her son is.
Well, Marlene, I'm going to tell you this sarcastically. All heroin addicts tell the truth.
Haha.
That's sarcasm, okay?
Because this kind of situation I feel bad for because some people just don't take advantage of bettering their lives while they're in there. And that's why they keep going back and going back and going back. You have to take that step to change your life.
Yeah, Rick from Vegas Prison Stories, you have to let your son be a man and take care of whatever issue it is for himself. Yeah.
Yep. That is true.
I mean, you dig. He's kind of, what's the word? You ride your own beef, dig your own grave. You can't ask somebody to dig it for you. Or, I mean, sometimes, yeah.
He's made his bed. He's gonna have to deal with it.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. And there's some things we just can't do to help him. And there's a lot of heroin going around in prison. It's one of the easy. And fentanyl. It's an easy
other
drug.
thing too, Shawn, is I mean, he might not owe a debt, but he might need that money to, for a fix to get high again and stuff. And
sure. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's sad, really, but you have to know your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, I know my son so well, I would know. It's been happening for 3 years. My son's never been in a prison like that before, so I just let it go and let God. Not my problem. I'm no fool. Well, if he's been in prison for 3 years already, and he's been doing this off and on, I would say that he's got a pattern going on, and he is a grown man. I know Marlene as a mother because my son's sitting in and he's getting ready to go to federal prison right now. And I know as a mother, it is hard to play tough love with your kids. But if you don't do it now, he will never change.
Yeah, and when he gets, and if he's pulling these kind of, we'll call them scams for now. When he gets out of prison, he's going to end up going back. He's not. There needs to be
when he gets out,
some kind of a spiritual awakening. He's got to come to some kind of. He's got to want to change. And
when he gets out, he's going to be looking mom in the face, and then you give him that, that sad look, and you want to give in to him, but you can't. You have to set boundaries, Marlene. Boundaries. That's the big one. If you don't set boundaries now, he's going to run over you the rest of your life. And I mean, I've seen moms lose everything over their kids. You've got to set boundaries. They're grown adults. They need to grow up and take responsibility for their actions.
So you may have bigger problems when he gets out.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds mean. It really does sound mean. But if you don't make them be responsible, they're never going to grow up. And then they're just going to do life on the installment plan in prison.
And a lot of people come out worse than they were when they go to prison, and they develop drug habits, and they learn to scam and steal and get away with it and manipulate. And manipulation's a big one in prison. They manipulate their families, they manipulate the guards, they manipulate everybody around them, and they come out, worse than they went in.
Like, I seen a girl that she straight manipulated the chaplain to go to the parole board hearing for her to help her get out. And she should have never walked out. I mean, she had some bad crimes. But that's what they do. If they can manipulate anybody to get their freedom, they will. But they don't learn, and then they come out, and then they go right back in.
Yeah. If he's hanging around the wrong crowd in prison, and most of prison is the wrong crowd.
I mean, if he's still doing heroin or drugs or whatever, and he's this close to coming home, he's going to hit the streets, be violated within 30 to 90 days, and he's going right back. That's a given. If you can't be clean and sober and get clean and sober inside, you're not going to be clean and sober outside.
Yeah, I double agree with her, because how many people have told me in prison, I'll stop the drugs when I get out. When I get out, I'm not going to stop in here. I'm in prison. I'll wait till I get out. With that attitude, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen.
No.
You got the best opportunity in prison to turn your life around. You really do.
You've got
most people don't take it. Most people don't use it.
You can study. You've got classes. You've got, meetings, you can do
There's
all
NA,
kinds of
there's
stuff.
AA,
Yep.
there's church services, there's programs and classes. All like she said, and there's enough good guys that you could find in there to hang out. You don't need to hang out with the cars and G Force and G Money and all these other guys.
No, and if you're really struggling with drug addiction and you go to an NA, they have people that come in from the outs. You can go to the side and sit them down and say, "Look, I'm really struggling," and they will talk with you. He's been in and out of jail since he was young, but first real prison, he's 42. 42 years old. I would say, and I can't say for sure, but I would say at 42 years old, being in and out, he's probably institutionalized, and it's sad. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Marlene. I know you don't want to hear this, but I agree.
I would definitely say he's. I know people that are like that. I just like. I just lost a friend that I've known him forever, and 5 years ago he was sitting down and he was crying, and he was going back, and he said, "I just can't live out here." He said, "When I'm inside, I'm okay. I know my routine. I know how to live. I don't have to pay rent. I get free cable. I mean, and that's how he lived his entire life. And he just passed away. His kidney shut down. But like, for once in his life, and it's really sad to say, when he passed away was when he got free.
That is
And
sad to say, but
it
it's
is.
true.
These guys, especially when they go in when they're young. And what a lot of people don't know too is, like, so I'm 6 months from my LAC license from being a drug addiction counselor. And when you start using at a young age, say 13, 14 years old, that's where your maturity level stops. And a lot of them don't get out of that young, mature stage. And then, once they start going in a couple times, then they start making their little so-called friends in there, and they come out and they don't know how to live out here. So they just keep going back and going back. But I mean, if he's 42 years old, I would, and it's bad to say, I would give him 6 months. He's going to be back in.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna agree.
really
I'm gonna
sad,
agree.
I mean, it's sad to say, like, the day my son went to jail was the first time for 2 years I actually slept, because I knew he was safe. And I had prepared myself to bury my son. And no mother should ever have to do that.
So I put my mother through hell too. I went to a lot of jails for drug possession charges, and my mother never came to visit me or anything and told me, when you go to jail, I get to sleep. I
Yep.
agree. She said that's the only time I can sleep without the phone ringing or you coming over with some story why you need money to borrow my car, whatever. She finally got some sleep. And
No,
it
my
took
son
me,
used to tell me, "I need money for food." And I'm like, "I'll take you and go get you something to eat. You can come
yeah,
out here and eat.
you
You can come to my house. Mom's got food. I'll cook for
you
you."
don't go hungry in this country. They're giving away food everywhere. There's
I
food
mean,
banks and
and
churches.
he was like, "No, Mom, I need this." I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not new to this. No." But a lot of moms, the problem, Shawn, is you've got a lot of moms. I mean, she's been going through it for a minute, but then you got some of these new moms that have never been through it. So they believe everything they're saying. I need money for food, or I need money to pay my rent, or whatever. And I can guarantee you 50% of them ain't paying no rent because they done lost their house.
Yeah.
They got their house no more
I was
and
one of
stuff.
those. I was one of
Yeah.
those. I was
My
one of those.
oldest
Prison.
son was
Yeah.
put in jail for meth and fentanyl 4 days ago with intent to distribute $4,000 bond. Meth and fentanyl, Marlene, I would say tentatively he could be flipped to federal.
The feds are picking up fentanyl charges, and they're not very nice. They
Right
hate
and left.
fentanyl right now.
Right and left. I just had
And
a guy on a fentanyl charge. They gave him 12 years on his first one.
And for fentanyl, you don't qualify for First Step Act credits anymore. They just started that. I got a girl at Alderson.
No.
They took her 10 months away because she had a fentanyl charge. She was supposed to get out.
Marlene, do not bond him out. I'm sorry. As a mother, do not let him sit.
Do not. Yeah.
Let him sit. I had another lady out of Vegas, and she kept calling me, and I talked to her, and she wanted to bond her son out, and I told her, do not bond him. And now that he's been in there for a while and his head's clearing up, he's doing so much better. Because all they'll do is get out and go right back to where they were and rack up some more charges and bury themselves deeper. Your oldest son's 49 years old. He should know better. 49 years old, you should know better.
Yeah, you should. So in my case, guys, I was kind of like your son. When I got to prison, I'd been in a lot of rehabs and stuff, and I had 4 years clean at one time. And then the girl showed up. I'm at a 7-Eleven. She's got the bag, getting a hotel room. I blew my 4 years just like that.
Real quick. Over a woman, see?
Over a woman. Yeah, over a woman. And, guess what? We got a motel room. We got raided in the morning because she had warrants. I'm back in jail. Violate probation, everything. So, yeah. But now I got 6 years, guys. But I got that going to prison. At my prison, there was no AA meetings. I hadn't had them in 10 years. But I had been going to AA, had a lot of friends, wrote them letters. The warden worked with me to start AA meetings there. I got a big box from AA with all books and pamphlets, and the warden let me start meetings there. And so
you started coordinating that over there.
I did. I put flyers up all over the camp. 8 people showed up for the first meeting, and I ended up sponsoring guys.
You even have one, as long as one shows up.
I didn't think anybody was going to show up. I'm watching the clock. Finally, 6 minutes till 9. Here comes 8 people in there, and I'm friends with 4 of them right now in Albuquerque. We go to meetings and stuff, but we supported each other. There was a lot of drugs in the camp. Trust me. And you should see New Year's Eve at a federal prison camp. There's bars set up everywhere. They're selling shots. They're selling shots of Patron for $8 in a little pill jar. $8. They charge $10 at the bar, at a real bar, for Patron. You guys only want 8.
The whole bottle.
So I could have really fell in. I could have said, fuck it, I'm in prison. I'll just get high and fuck life. But something clicked in me. I was lucky. And today I get to preach about it. And I will brag about it because I'm proud of myself. But not everybody gets it. And I didn't get it till I was 52. So Marlene, there's hope for him, but not this way. You don't send him no money.
He has to really want it.
You got to want it.
And I finally out to change your life, you have to want it.
You got to want. Here's my thing. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? It don't matter. The light bulb has to want to change.
Yep.
Do you guys get that? What that means?
That's like, this is the thing. I came out with $100. That's nothing. I worked and worked and worked and changed my life. People with felonies do not get licensed for foster care. I was just licensed. I had my old PO. I had 2 federal POs call and congratulate me because I have changed my life so much and worked hard for that. Not that I'm getting a bunch of foster kids. They had to do it for my granddaughter because she was taken from her mom and under DFS. But it's hard to come out with nothing and struggle and struggle and struggle. But you have to have that determination and you have to want it. You have to want to change your life. If you don't change your life, you're going to stay in that cycle. It's like it's like a mouse in a little cage running on that little wheel that's just going nowhere because you're not getting anywhere. And we as mothers, if we keep enabling our children and thinking in our heart, okay, this will be the last time, he'll come out, he's telling me that he's doing good and he wants to change his life. That's jail and prison talk. I'm sorry. There's no sugarcoating it. That is jail and prison talk because they're telling you as a mother, you know, what you want to hear because they've known you your whole life. They know how to get around
They know
you.
how to work you. They know how to work. They've been
Right.
working you all their life. Yeah.
You know, I mean, my son, he knows better. He knows better. But like my son looked like Beetlejuice minus 200 pounds when he went in, and now he's up to 270. He's actually healthy, And he told me he's like, "That's messed up, Mom." I said, "It's the truth." I'm not. I don't lie to him. I don't lie to any of my clients. I don't lie to my children. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I tell them straight up because in this world nowadays, if you are not straight up with them and you don't play tough love with them, they're just going to keep going back and forth. She says their dad was in and out of prison till he was murdered at 33 years old.
That should be a wake-up call. That should wake him up right there, but it's not.
Right? Yeah. I mean, some of them just don't get it. It's tough. It is really tough.
It's not easy. I watched
their dad getting murdered. My God, that should have just snapped something in their head.
Yeah.
But
when I got out of prison, I washed dishes for 6 months at a soup kitchen. You do what you do. And I went to AA meetings and I got clean and I kept it going. I didn't just, I'm out of prison now. I can go
$15 an hour at McDonald's to flip burgers right now. Come on.
Yeah, there's jobs everywhere.
And they have benefits now. McDonald's has benefits.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, they get medical benefits, dental benefits, optical benefits.
If you put in the work, the good things will come. They're not going to come by next Tuesday.
No, I have a friend. She got out. She changed her life so much. She went to school to be a federal prosecutor, to actually be able to sit up there and help people, with treatment programs and different things like that. And her own prosecuting attorney is the one that helped her expunge her record.
That's a miracle. I like that.
She's changed her life so much. And it happens. People are like, oh, you can't do this and that because of this. You can. That's like I said before. People, they use their felonies as an excuse. There's so many businesses that want to hire felons because they get over $8,000 in tax write-offs for them.
Oh yeah, they get tax credits. They get 25. They get a quarter back for every dollar they spend on you, up to 10 grand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just because you have a felony, don't mean you can't get a job. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they get a 25% tax credit. So if they pay you $20,000, they'll get $10,000 back at the end of the year for hiring you because you're a felon.
I have a girl that started cleaning houses and just ran with it.
Yeah.
All you got to do, and your best thing is word of mouth. That's your best advertisement. You cleaned Sally's house over here. You did an amazing job. Yeah. She's going to tell her friends, and their friends are going to tell their friends. And pretty soon, you got so many houses, you got to start hiring people. Now you got a full-fledged business.
You're not alone either. You see MCSE, he has the same deal going on with his son. Or her son. Hey, there's a great program called Inmates to Entrepreneurs, guys. I took it. It's an 8-week course. It's totally free. And if you've ever done time in prison, Inmates to Entrepreneurs, just Google it. And every 2 months they start a new course, and they'll help you out with the business license and all that. Get going, but it's a great course. Inmates to Entrepreneurs. I took it. I highly recommend that. And everybody on there is trying to help people coming out of prison or jails. And they have great instructors, and every 2 months they do a free Inmates to Entrepreneurs. So I just want to throw that out there. Some good people
Yeah.
work for that organization. It's all free.
Marlene, you don't have to apologize. I understand getting aggravated and angry. I totally get that. My number is up here. If you need to talk, you can call me and vent, scream, yell, whatever, because I know what it's like.
I don't think you're a bad mother at all, Marlene. I've gotten to know
No,
you over this last year. You're a good mother. So do not beat yourself up or blame yourself. Please do not.
nobody in her position should ever feel like they're a bad mom because they're playing tough love with their children. Your children are no longer children. They are grown men. Grown men. And if they have kids or anything, they're being selfish. I'm sorry, but they're not thinking about their children who do not have their fathers. Because those kids are going to grow up with animosity toward their fathers for not being there because they chose other things over them. You know, like my son has told his daughter a million times, you know, he's sorry for what he did and he has taken his full consequences and he knows. You know, just like she got in trouble one day and she was mad because she lost her tablet. And my son told her, those are your consequences. Just like dad's consequences was, I was bad, I have to sit in jail and I have to go to prison. And I mean, it's their consequences. It's they either learn from those consequences like they did when they were a child, or they don't. Plain and simple. You have to learn. And if these guys are this old and they've been in and out, they know what they're doing. They know
Oh
right
yeah.
from wrong.
They know there's help out there. They know that they don't it's their choice right now.
And running drugs, I mean, it's quick, fast money, but it's just like the old saying, easy come, easy go. Anything you obtain by that means, you will lose. That's a given.
He may have the borderline personality because of all the drug use that caused that. I'm not sure, but um, well, you see that one, Shawn? What he says?
You can, I mean,
I
they
don't know
have
if
medication and counselors and
yeah
psychiatrists and help for that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah is he using that as an excuse? Because that's yeah, I can run with that one too. Sure.
I mean, I could, yeah, you know, my grandkids stressed me out, so I went and used drugs. That's an excuse. That, I mean, you can use anything for an excuse.
It's raining. It's not raining. It might rain. Yeah.
I mean, you know, you have to get over the excuses, plain and simple. And people, I mean, you either change or you don't change. That's all there is to it. If you like it
My
in there,
yeah.
well,
My dad beat the hell out of me and my brother growing up. I mean, so bad I had bruises and scars all over me going to school and everything. And I did use that for a while. But there comes a time you grow up and are you just going to hold on to that until you die and just waste your life away? Or are you going to change it? You're going to,
I mean, her boys have been, you know, in and out since they were young. Okay, their dad, if I'm right, she said they were 11 at the time when their dad died. Okay, so did they ever go into any grief counseling? Have they really grieved their father? Because it's an underlining issue. And if you don't find that underlining issue, you can't deal with your life. I mean, maybe they need to do some grief counseling and actually deal with
yeah.
this death that they've been carrying, the hate, the being mad, and the anger, and the grief, and everything, because it'll eat you up. And they need to deal with that in order to move on in their life.
Hey, parole and probation will pay for therapy if you ask. I did it. So I've had 8 years of it before prison, on pretrial, and after, and it was one of the best things I could have used. Yeah, I took advantage of that. and I probably had 4 different therapists, and it
Yeah.
I mean, it really helped me, guys. So when they get out of
See,
prison, even state, they'll pay. You just got to ask your probation or your parole officer; they will pay for it.
this person says he was born dead and I think he has brain damage. Antisocial diagnosis. Usually they don't seek help. Well, no, they don't seek help. That's when a case manager comes into play to help get them help. And if he has brain damage or you believe he has brain damage, they can do MRIs, CAT scans, all of that to find out what's going on up there.
Yeah.
But you have to look into these things. I mean, there's caseworkers out there that help people every day. If you don't reach out for help, it's not going to come to you.
Yeah.
That's
There's so much free help out there.
Nobody's gonna knock on your door and say, "Hey, by the way, do you need help today?"
Yeah.
I'm a caseworker.
1-800-662-HELP. There, you can start with that. 1-800-662-HELP. There you go.
We have a
They will
number in
get you in the right
Montana.
direction.
In Montana, you can get on your phone and you can push. I think it's like star 211 or something like that.
Yeah,
and it puts you
211.
in
Yeah.
touch, with all kinds of resources. But
Right.
they're out there. You have to, just reach out to get them. She said, "No, never grieved. I believe you are correct on that. Tried to get them to go some form of therapy, but no go." Yeah, they probably got underlying grief issues. They need to deal with that grief.
They
And,
do. Because
and until they deal with that grief, I'm sorry, Marlene, but they're going in and out. The day they walk out, you better lock up your valuables.
yes.
Because
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't care if you're their mother, they don't care. When somebody is in their addiction, they don't care. I mean, I'm a prime example. A year ago, I was at my daughter's house. I was leaning back in the recliner, and my son came over there. I mean, gone. He was gone on meth. And I told him, I said, "You need to go to treatment." And he just looked at me. And I said, "If you don't go to treatment, I'm going to go file and get a court order to put you in treatment." My son put a gun in my face. I was going to shoot me. That's how gone he was. My daughter stepped in between us, and that's what stopped him. And to this day, now that he's clean and sober, he regrets it. Totally regrets it. But I knew at that moment that was not my son. And in their addiction, they don't care who you are. Mother, father, cousin, sister, brother, uncle, they don't care. It's the next fix. Where they can get it, who they can steal it from, what they can steal, the pawn, sell, whatever. They don't care who they're out there raping and pillaging. It's that the drugs take a hold of people and turn them into people they are not. And
She's so correct, because I was like that at one time, guys. My mother had a chain wrapped to the TV, and it was one of those old big TVs. She had to have a chain padlocked on the TV.
Your mama was honest.
And I didn't even live with her.
My son didn't live with me either, but I'm telling you what, I went online at night and I turned off all my bank cards.
Yeah.
I went on OnStar and turned off my car.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to, you don't want to. It hurts you as a mother to think that your children will do that. But when they're doing drugs, they're no longer that person. It's taken them over. And it's sad. I really feel for Marlene because these boys, I really think until they deal with their father's death, it's a never-ending cycle. And it's sad. Really sad.
Yeah, Big Weavy, I see that. I know you. You're coming. You're making progress, though, Big Weavy. You're coming forward. You're moving forward.
He was born with umbilical cord trapped him in the birth canal. When he was younger, did any of the doctors recommend that he go to like specialists or get him some treatment? Or, I mean, you would think the doctors would do something. I always slept with my purse under my pillow. Marlene, I've
Yeah.
been there. I am with you. I I have been there. Take your
My
wallet, put
mother
it
used.
inside the pillowcase. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I've
My
been there,
mother had
Marlene.
hid her money in her bra with a little thing because she knew I wasn't going to grab that. But
Yep. And like, my son is so ADHD, OCD. Like, I gotta take an anxiety pill 10 minutes after he's in my house. I had the captain of the jail where he's at call me and ask me if she thought my son would be doing drugs in there. She said all he does is clean. I said nope, that's him. I said if he was doing meth because he's ADHD, I said he would be calm, sat down, reading a book, whatever. I said, but nope. And I told her it was funny because I said if you got anywhere in the jail you need painted, cleaned, whatever, I said throw him in there because he is OCD, bad OCD. I could put a ruler in my son's closet in front of his shoes. And she said he had so much hygiene stacked up like he was going to be there forever. Because he's so OCD. I feel sorry for whatever roommate he gets. Because I'll tell you what, but I mean, their room will be clean. Don't get me twisted. That room will be. He's down there over at the jail. He was on the floor with a toothbrush scrubbing. Like a straight crackhead. But he was sober. That's just the way he is.
sure.
Only way you
Yeah.
got sober was in jail.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that's what it takes.
And sometimes sometimes people they go to jail the first time and that's enough to wake them up, you know. But not always. But yeah, I mean, jail is a good place to detox. Um, and get your mind. Maybe you can make some decisions now on how you're going to live your life when you get out.
Well, what a
It took
lot of
me to
people
I
don't,
had to go to prison till I finally got it. But some people get it at jail,
a
and
lot of people don't understand too is this is the thing. So, we have two natural receptors in our brain, and when you do drugs, it opens up other receptors. So when you're coming off of drugs, those other receptors are what's making you fiend for drugs. That's why after the first 72 hours of getting clean, you should not eat any caffeine, sugar, or any of that stuff because you're still feeding those other receptors. You've got to shut those receptors down so you get back to your natural too. That's why in treatment you can't have sugar, you can't have caffeine, candy, any of that stuff because you've got to shut them down. And a lot of people don't know that from the last day of use on methamphetamines, your brain it is still deteriorating your brain for 18 months. And you get
oh
holes
yeah,
in your brain that never ever close back up.
it takes I've heard 2 years.
You can't come out at 6 months and say, "Oh, I'm clean."
No. Because my first couple years, and it was meth at the end. I could feel it trickling in my. I could just feel it in my body. A year later, it was still, and you get a smell of it. It takes a long time to leave you, and it's always playing with your head too. And yeah, you're so right, Shawn.
Yeah. They have drug treatment places that work with people like that and stuff. Um, for people that might be on here that have people that want to get clean and stuff like that, there is a place. It's in Riverton, Wyoming. It's called Set Free. It's Christian based. It's 60 days intensive inpatient, but you can stay there for up to a year. and it's a great treatment center. Great treatment center. Um, there's a guy named Richard that runs it. He has a guy that came from Florida for treatment that has now been working there for 5 years for him. But if you can go to 100 treatment centers, and if you're not ready, they're not going to help you. You can go through them 100 times, but if you are not at the bottom and you haven't hit that rock bottom yet, and you're not ready, it's not going to help you, no matter what.
So very true.
And it's sad.
So very true.
You know, and I feel for these moms, because it's tough. Tough.
MCSE, I can't have him live here because he loses control and gets violent. He is extremely insultive because he is coming down from the drug. So you're not safe. It's not safe for you to have him there, even when he gets out. Then, and he's going to have a lot more anger when he gets out. Yeah, Tourette syndrome.
There's different places. I mean, not just drug treatments. I mean, because the drug treatment wouldn't be good for him with those kind of problems. But you can talk to counselors, case managers at like the clinics or the hospitals and stuff, and they can maybe get you in touch with somebody in your area that has a higher level of care to help him, because they have institutions, they have all kinds of things that work with those kinds of people to help them. There's people that, you know, have special places that work with people that have, you know, head injury, brain trauma or whatever, but you have to reach out and you have to really research it to find those places.
Yeah, for me, guys, you know, I did 2 treatment programs on pretrial and still relapsed. One was attack therapy, lived in sober living houses, but I violated twice on pretrial, and I got lucky they didn't send me back. So I get to prison, and you know, I started the that's when I started my clean and sober thing, and so I did the RDAP program. I got out of prison. I did another Christian-based program when I got out of prison, when I got out of the halfway house. Then I lived there in their sober living. Then I lived in another sober living across the bay. So I've done like 8 years of sober living, but you know, the last 3 years sober. I've only had my own apartment for 6 months now, but that was, you know, years of sober living and treatment programs and tons of 12-step meetings and building a support group and getting a God in my life, making amends to my family and friends and everybody. I heard all those stuff just to get where I'm at today for 6 years. But it's a lot of work, and and I wanted it, but I didn't want it when I was 30. I didn't want it when I was 40, even though I went to some residential treatment programs. I thought they were going to fix me. I'm here, fix me, take it away. It doesn't work like that. It's a lot of work, and you got to want it.
You have to work.
Yeah, it's a lot of, and I work hard today still, you know, like I still go to my 12-step meetings. I'm going to one tonight, going to one tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And now I'm doing Cocaine Anonymous because that works for me. But I do my AA online meetings with a bunch of guys I went to prison with, and we support each other. And, you know, I mean, but you got to work at it every single day. I can't take a day off, you know. You don't get a day off. So hopefully your children will one day get it. They can start right where they're at. Every prison's got some kind of AA or NA meeting. If they don't have one like I did, then they start one. But they're not ready to do this right now, from what I'm gathering here. So,
no, it's sad.
I mean, maybe they need an intervention. I don't know. It doesn't sound like they have God in their life if they're living that lifestyle. So, you know, I don't know. I will pray for them.
I prayed hard. I prayed my son right into jail. Oh, that's good. You have a case manager. That's good.
Aussie Prison Talk. That's Adam from Australia. Thanks for joining in, Adam. We've been talking 3 hours now, Adam. Three. We've been on here 3 hours. Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
I do got to get off here eventually. I got to go do a show in an hour. I'm taping a show on Zoom with Oyster Sauce on his show, but so I do kind of got to. Yeah, I guess 3 hours, Shawn. Maybe. Shawn, will you come on again to my
Sure, anytime.
Okay. And I know a lot of these guys are going to want you on their channel. I know Vegas Prison Stories will want you. So, in your numbers up there, do you mind going on some other channels and helping people? And
No, I'm open to. I mean, if you can help, if you can touch one person and help them, I
yeah,
mean,
I think we helped some parents
I'm
today.
working right now at getting my record expunged so that I can actually go into the juvenile center. I just can't go into it with a felony.
Okay.
So I can.
So, Marlene, I hope we helped you today. At least, Marlene, you got to take that weight off your shoulders you've been carrying around and put it out here. And now, hopefully, you know what I mean. Hopefully, your world has become. It's not so small anymore. You put it out there in the universe, and maybe you get where I'm saying, Marlene. I sometimes we got to just get it out, instead of just living our lonesome little quiet life and our problems. And if you just share it with people, it can make the difference,
And Marlene, I'm telling you, if your boys are in Oklahoma State, they've got to like it in there because that's a bad prison. It is not nice in there. It's dirty. It's not nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I like being able to sit on my porch in the morning and have coffee.
Shawn, I'm gonna let you take some fun. I do got to wrap it up, Shawn, but let me take 5 minutes. Message to the world out there, and your numbers on the screen. And then I hate to say, but I do got to get going.
Spend 3 hours. I've been great.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, final words to everyone out there, Shawn. Your final thoughts and words and messages.
If anybody needs to talk to me, you are more than welcome to call me. Mornings are kind of bad for me. Afternoons, evenings are good. But other than that, I mean, whoever needs some help, wants to talk, scream, yell, vent, whatever. As a mother, I understand what a lot of you are going through. Louisiana's not very good down there either. Marlene says one is in Indiana and one is in Louisiana. Boy, her boys were running across the country, running them up.
Ripping and roaring.
Telling you, if they're across the country like that, whew. They were.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess you'll be getting some phone calls.
Yeah, Marlene, don't let them boys get you. I mean, you're not a bad mom for playing tough love with them. You have to, and I'm sorry, but they are old enough to deal with their own consequences. I mean, 42 years old. Yeah. They know.
Well, I hope we made the difference in at least one person's life today by doing this show, and I know we did. Shawn, God bless you, and yeah, I want to have you on again, and I'll keep in touch with you. And anything I can do to help any of your people, send them my way. And just God bless you. You're a walking miracle. I'm so glad you changed your life, and now you're helping others. So, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So you guys all have a great weekend. And I got to go. Thanks again, guys. All right. I'm going to hit the end broadcast.